All right, everybody, welcome back to Total Disclosure, back in good old Boston. We just took a trip down to DC. For anyone who doesn't or didn't know, there was a National Press Club event that James Fox, the filmmaker of Moment of Contact, The Phenomenon, 50 Years of Denial, I Know What I Saw, and so many other amazing UFO films. He put on this National Press Club event similar to like the Dr. Greer event, and put on the witnesses, or as many as he could, including the neurosurgeon, Dr. Idolo, and then a very powerful witness from the beginning of the film, Carlos de Souza. I was able to speak with both of them, along with people like Representative Burleson, Gene Sticco, Vito, just plethora, Jeff Nucitelli, or someone from the Y-Files. I don't know if that's cool. But so many people were there, so many cool things to discuss, so many opportunities that we figured we owe it one more stream to bring it all together, to bring it home, if you will. So before I get into it, everyone make sure to like, share, subscribe. If you're listening later on one of our great podcast platforms, please rate and review. It's the best way to help the show. And if you can become a member by clicking join on YouTube or on Patreon. For the low price of a cup of coffee per month, you can help support the show and literally keep the lights on. All right, let's get into it. I got my couple guests here, and we're going to start breaking shit down. Gene, welcome, welcome.
Hey, how's it going?
Long time no see. You have some of my tripods.
I know we all have. We've all left evidence of one another in one another's belongings.
Literally, I got out of your car at like, what did we get back at? Like,
it was like 2:30 a.m.
I got out of your car with like 4 bags, and I looked around and I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I got everything. And then I go back in, and I start going through shit, and I'm like, I'm missing so much shit.
Yeah, we were pumped up on some bad Wawa coffee after leaving Vito in New Jersey.
Dude, that Wawa trip, I remember you looking at me and going, hey, this is not a good representation of Wawa. Because I'd never been there. I didn't know what a Wawa, and you were just like, this is not a good representation.
It was not Wawa's at its best.
No, not at its finest. So Gene, I'm gonna bring in Vito. Vito, long time no see. Vito is what do you want me to say? Perfect gaming or
I don't know.
a war room?
Damn it! Why do I have Gene up there? Hold on a second. Vito's fine. Vito's perfectly fine.
And then Joe from the UAP Reporting Center, who also joined us.
Joe,
what's up, guys?
What up, Joey?
How's everyone doing? So
doing pretty good.
Obviously, I think I interviewed all three of you night one. And that's what I've been going through with some of the footage. With just the amazing memorial in the background, such good interviews. But for the live, maybe we could start with 12 o'clock, go around to Gene. And this will be for everyone. What was your overall thought on the National Press Club event, the Varginha incident, the witnesses, and what's next?
Starting with me.
Yeah.
I just thought it was very powerful to be there and hear it in person. It was encouraging to see the room was packed. Great to see so many people in the community working together and helping one another throughout the whole thing. I mean, we did it amongst ourselves, sure, but constant. I know I lended a hand where I could with others and saw it happening a lot. Representative Burleson, I think, was fired up. He seemed much more positive than previous interviews previous to that.
Absolutely.
So, overall, I think it was a good event. I think it laid a great foundation. It left, what I liked about it was the Air Force guy at the end, the Air Force colonel, there was like actions to take, actually leaving out of there. Like, here's the information, and here's where we're at, and
Did
here's where we need to go next. Have at it, world. And I was like, wow.
did anyone else get? What is that? Did you guys hear that?
Yeah, I can hear it.
Vito. I muted Vito for a second. It's looping. I got home and I don't know how this happened. I don't know. And I wanted to ask you guys about this. I got home. I started going through my computer. There's just a file on my computer that says Varginha file, and there's like 99 videos and stuff inside.
Yeah.
Of it. I never downloaded that.
I didn't either. I thought one of you guys like sent it to me or something, but it's on mine too.
So I wasn't the only one who got this fucking file randomly.
Yeah, right. It has all the documents and videos and pictures and witness statements.
It was from a QR code. Is my audio no longer looping?
Yeah, but you would have had to press something. It doesn't usually work like that.
Oh, you know what? I wonder if it's when we scanned the to get in. You had to scan your phone to get into the press conference.
Yeah, but I scanned my phone. It was on my laptop. It wasn't on my phone.
Yeah, but doesn't your stuff cross-platform? You said to me, like.
Oh yeah, okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
maybe it's weird.
You guys solved it, maybe. But I was just like, how the fuck did they get that on my computer? Because I didn't knowingly click, like, let's go download this. It was there, and I was like, huh, what the hell? One of my lights went out. But sorry, Gene. So that Air Force captain was someone who I had not heard from.
Yeah, I liked him a lot.
Heard from before.
Yeah, well, it seemed like he was just somebody who came forward based on his experience and was like, hey, I can help out. This is what a paper trail looks like, and who we need to call for. So I thought that was fantastic. And the other gentleman who spoke about the powers that Congress does have to grant immunity for testimony, I think was interesting. And, we'll see if anybody takes it to heart or road tests it, I guess.
Interesting. All right. On to Joe. What were your just overall thoughts?
Yeah, I thought it was a great event. I think that the more events we have like that, the better. I wish there were more of them. And I know it's difficult, but just because I think people physically being somewhere and seeing so many people make the effort to travel to another city to support something that actually, not to a convention or anything like that, but an actual hearing or a press conference, it just goes to show how many people are invested and involved in wanting the truth on this subject. I think it sends a message to Congress and to others.
Yeah,
but
not to interrupt you there. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Because you and I have been to the congressional hearings as well. It had a different feel, but similar in a way. It was similar where people were coming from all over and descending upon DC for this specific event. It wasn't just like, people in the area, filling in, right? It was people flew in specifically, like, Gene and I and Vito, we all, like, that was the one sole reason for being in DC.
Yeah, you guys.
Yeah. And I was talking to James, and he said right up until like not long before the hearing, he was like terrified that it was going to be empty.
Yeah.
I don't even think he knew, like, just the groundswell of support disclosure have and how people are invested.
Well, let me ask this as a follow-up. Where did you stand on Varginha before, and where are you standing now?
Yeah, that's a good question. I always thought it was really, really intriguing and interesting. I could say after the hearing, but let me preface that by saying I didn't have my mind completely made up. I'm not an expert on the subject by any stretch, but I thought it was intriguing. But after seeing the witnesses answered any question I had. There is zero doubt in my mind that any of those witnesses were lying. You can't fake the kind of emotion they showed during their testimony. I don't know what just happened. Are you guys still there?
I'm here. He put you on the yeah, there we go. He changed when he changes screens, it like it moves it around.
Oh, okay. I'm still here. We're all still here.
He gave you your close up, brother.
Yeah, I gave you the floor.
Nice. Thank you. I froze under the pressure.
Sorry.
So
he's like, oh my God, what happened?
He thought we were screwing with him. We all abandoned the feed.
Yeah,
am I talking to myself here?
We all left one by one. That'd be hilarious. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We're just like,
This guy won't shut up.
You got this, right?
Yeah, you got it. See you later.
No, but that's actually a good insight, like knowing that you weren't fully sold, but seeing, because there was a couple moments, like especially with Carlos D'Souza. I mean, I'm just gonna go out and say it. Whether he's either an award-winning actor that never pursued acting,
right,
or that dude is just raw telling the truth, like rawly telling the truth. I got to speak with him close up after, and I felt the emotion in him, not even knowing his language. It was going through the interpreter and then to me. I could feel it from him, and he had a couple powerful moments at that podium.
Yeah, and I'll tell you a couple of things from my perspective. I noticed sort of watching the micro expressions, the interactions, and things like that added credibility to it. If you notice, there was like there was a translator at the end of the table, and there were obviously prepared statements they were following down, and he was going off script here and there, but then there was a point where he was really going off the prepared statement, and she had to kind of wrangle him in and be like, hey, let's keep it focused. Again, it just sort of showed he has so much to say and so much to talk about that they kind of had to put those guardrails around it, because I think it's just overwhelming and overflowing with both information and emotion for him.
Absolutely. And Dr. Italo was someone that again I got to speak to after, and I think James wanted that. I remember him in the video, I forget which podcast he was doing, where he was like, come ask the difficult questions, come meet their family, meet their wife, meet their this, talk to them directly. And I found that to be one of the most powerful tools in this field, especially when we're judging such complex things, because I can look into your eye and like, if you're bullshitting me, like about like getting probed by an alien, I can usually tell, right? Like,
right.
There's the liars, and then there's the people you go, you don't really have too much to gain. And I just don't see what you would actually benefit from this. I mean, Carlos disappeared for 20 some odd years, disappeared. Now, so he goes to the gas station, and we could start early with this. So he sees this craft, and he's a pilot, not a pilot, like a commercial pilot, but he flies what are they, fixed wing, Gene, what are they called? Do you remember?
Cessna.
No. He flies like RC. What are those called? Fixed wing?
Fixed wing, yeah.
Yeah, just he flies fixed wing. So he's familiar with what something looks like in the air and how it behaves when it's in trouble and when it's not. And he describes seeing, and this is very early in the morning, he's going out to fly that morning. He sees this cylindrical craft. So like a cigar, white metallic, and it's shimmering, it's shivering in the air. So it's like, looks like it's in trouble. It's bowing down and up, and like it's trying to maintain its bearing. And then there's this white stuff coming out the back. Smoke is what he assumes. He never says UFOs or aliens, or like he thinks someone's going to need help. So he peels off the highway, gets on the dirt road, comes across this just wreckage where he comes upon the metal. Now, I'm sure you guys know, what does that metal sound like? Have we ever heard that before? This metal that crumbles in your hand and
Yeah, it's Roswell. It's Roswell.
Yeah, as soon as I heard that.
Right. So again, it's these things and cases that are very far apart that maybe we can start to glean. We don't have to know the exact who, what, why, when, and where, but we can draw correlation, or not correlation, but we can draw lines across and say, huh, well, that's weird. Both talking about the same kind of metal, 30, 40, 50, 60 years in time frame. So what is that metal? And why does it keep being seen after crashes, UFO crashes specifically? He also spoke of the smell. So he said that he needed to cover his face. And, I always harped on that smell, the smell of ammonia, the smell of sulfur. That's a detail that I found to be very intriguing and something that you can easily follow throughout the witnesses. That essentially, if, what we're being told is true, they have no affiliation with each other aside from this case, So they all talk about this ammonia sulfur smell, and he smelt it at the crash as well. But he was sent away by military, later, intimidated by the Men in Black. What are your guys' thoughts on this quote unquote Men in Black seemingly appearing at these crash sites?
I think it's linked to NHI personally.
So yeah, it doesn't strike me as a particular, even though it's human, it doesn't particularly strike me as a human, like, I don't think a human craft is at play here. I think
not that fast. As far as like the Men in Black go, they're definitely linked to something like that. Yeah. There's no way they can just show up. They look foreign, they act foreign, something like weird. There's just a lot to it with them. You know what I mean? It's weird with them. So I don't know what to think half the time.
Does anybody know how long after this did the Men in Black show up?
For Carlos, it was mere
minutes.
Not minutes. I wouldn't say minutes, because he went to the gas station after being. So he's in the field with the debris, and the military is backing him off, right? Like, get the fuck out of here, dude. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
The next time I ask, is I'm not asking next time. So he gets the hint. He backs off, goes to a gas station to get a cup of coffee. It's early in the morning. And it's at that gas station, he says, a car with no plate rides up on him. And that's when they go, Carlos, you married to this person? You live at this person? You live at this address? Yeah, you do this for work? Okay, remember, you saw nothing. You didn't see shit. And like, if you do say what you saw, things might get weird for you. And he took that as a threat. He said that they were foreigners, so not native Brazilian speaking. We don't know if they were American, but they definitely weren't Brazilian. And they told him things would get weird if he started talking. So he disappeared. I mean, that's something, not everyone does that, right?
Yeah, it's strange. It's definitely strange, because I would normally say they're Americans, but Americans, I don't think, didn't show up for quite a while after that. So I find it hard to believe, American, intelligence officials could show up that fast.
That's why I think it's NHI.
Yeah. Yeah, it's strange. Maybe hybrids, something like that.
It sounds crazy, but
yeah, it does.
Maybe they're working.
I'm hesitant to even say it, but I just don't know what else it would be.
Maybe they're working in conjunction with a government. You know what I mean?
I think if there's, that's probably what I would glean towards the most, is that if there is this like quote unquote deal, like this quid quo with the government and some sort of, even if it's just one faction, like one species that's visiting us, like, if you want to go off of this multiple species, visiting us kind of mindset, say the grays are like, they're not necessarily malevolent, but they're indifferent. That could look like malevolency in some cases, right? Indifference
sure.
can be mistaken for, you know, like if from where they're from, like taking you, you know, against a lesser species, that's we do it. We do it to cows. We do it to fucking lions and tigers in the jungle. Gene and I had a conversation. Bro, Gene made me laugh. I just thought of it, Gene. Do you know what I thought of?
Yeah, I know what you thought of.
Okay. Anyway, back to it. But
It was
yes.
it was those last hours of the car ride, and Gene
dude,
started
I couldn't
hypothesizing
fucking
about what
stop.
aliens might think of life in society today, and what if it was nothing like our norms and standards
Zap.
that we
Yeah.
accept.
So if it is one of these species that has a contract or whatever with the government, I think this would be the quote unquote agency that
Yeah, for
keeps,
sure.
right, keeps
The Men in Black. Yeah, I mean,
that's well, that's what the Men in Black ends up being based on, right? It's probably
Right.
called something completely different. We've
Of course.
labeled it the Men in Black, but because a lot of people think, oh, it came from the movie. No. The movie, like even Independence Day showed Area 51 before Area 51 was even admitted
on the
to
radar. Yeah,
government.
That's why I say that the movies definitely give a lot of. I think the movies are definitely telling a lot of truth, if that makes sense. Like I think they're giving, like kind of like Richard Doty. Richard Doty was put out there to be like a liar, right? But then a lot of what he was saying, we find out is the truth, or there's some truth in what he's saying. So I think it's a mixture of both. And I know it sounds absolutely batshit crazy, but you know, the woo is here. You know, the woo sounds crazy to talk about it, but the woo is here. It's a part of it. You're not.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah. It's for me, I think it's definitely something that's there. Because you see it in very specific cases, and always the most, because again, now I don't know if you want to, like, if this is the same group, but later on in this case, the three girls, Katya, that's the only one whose name I really remember, to be honest. Katya's mother, she said that guys came into the house. They went forward. Vito, you
Sorry about that. I'm sorry.
Jesus.
I burped. Sorry, my bad.
Oh, I thought you farted.
These fucking.
I thought he was gonna peel off his human suit.
These gaming streamers, they come and try to do real podcasts, and they utterly have no respect for audio quality.
Vito, just go ahead. Sugar water.
Yeah.
Sugar water.
Fucking sounded like the literal villain from Men in Black. But yeah. Anyway, so the mother, she says that after the girls had come forward with their story, she was visited by some non-Brazilian natives. She thought they were American. She couldn't say for sure. But they offered her cash that they quote said could only be spent outside of Brazil, basically inferring you're going to take your kids and you're going to get the fuck out of Dodge. You know, so that's when I start thinking something. That's when I start registering. All right, now we have two people saying they were essentially bribed or intimidated, right? So this case, it starts to look very good in terms from the witness's perspective.
So I think there's a couple of things at play here, you know, when it comes to the people who came to do the interviews that we also have to consider. So the Brazilian military, we don't have the exact time frame of how long from when the crash till the soldiers show up and start securing the scene is. So for me, there's a little bit of a question of that time period, and was there a military base close enough to respond, and how quickly would that response be mounted, versus were they potentially already tracking this object?
Yeah. Exactly.
Sort of had a mobile team out there, it just the order of events like that didn't seem
Yeah.
to spill out. And then you have, what's his name again? Was it Carlos?
Carlos D'Souza,
Yeah, Carlos at the gas station later, and that's when he first gets his approach. So again, it's before we start, thinking, all right, interplanetary or interdimensional men in black show up and,
Yeah.
start intimidating people. We got to understand, I think, that order, the timelines around that order of events.
Yeah.
Within 12 hours, some Americans show up. Yeah, quite possibly, right? Because let's face it, all embassies include CIA people, right? And somebody could very easily throw on their suit, jump in a helicopter. They have those resources, particularly with something like this. And then when that U.S. aircraft arrived to take everything away. So in the same sense, stuff's got to be, collected, packed up, put in boxes. You probably have to build the boxes to put everything in.
That's-
And we don't know, like Gene mentioned, how long they were tracking this craft. Now, was this craft hovering over Brazil for hours and hours and hours, or days, or who knows, however long? Maybe the Americans put resources, where they needed to be in Brazil in case something like this should happen. But so, yeah, I think that's probably much more likely than, like Gene said, interplanetary men in black. Anything's possible, but that makes a lot more sense. That's why I said, how long after? And Gene had another great point. Was there a military base nearby? Does that military base have American assets on it? I mean, who knows?
Well, I
So
think
yeah, all those things need to be figured out.
Yeah, and to your point, right? We don't know, were there reports from other cities and towns in the days prior? This might have been, a week-long thing for all we know, possibly.
That's actually a really good point.
Yeah, great point.
Our entrance into this case really starts with Carlos's visual. We don't know, and that would make sense for how quick the military gained on him, because he peels off the highway, he gets to the farm where the debris is, and he's barely able to pick up a few pieces of metal and take in what's happening before the military's coming from the opposite side. So they're clearly already on their way through.
Right. And this is what I'm saying. We've got to, again, step back from the spectacle, whether it's this or, anything else. We've got to step back from the spectacle, and we got to start thinking about things, step by step. So let's say this thing even crashed in the, in the forest across the street from the military base, if there even were a military base there, right? There is not a room full of people that are sitting around staring at each other all day, waiting for something to happen to respond to. Everybody has a normal job that they're doing, and you take the U.S. military, that could be any number of things, right? There aren't specific teams sitting around waiting for something bad to happen. Something bad happens, stuff starts kicking into gear. Everybody gets called in to all of their workplaces as the commanders begin to figure out what exactly do we need and who exactly do we need to go do that. And you're talking, in the U.S. military, you're talking at best people in combat type positions. You've got 15 to 30 minutes sometimes to get 40 people together and dressed and ready to go. So, not trying to disrespect the Brazilian military in any way, but do they, in 96, were they able to respond similarly in the same way that a unit with trucks and resources and personnel could get 30 people in 30 minutes dressed and out into a field?
Yeah,
I
that's a
think
good
they've been
point.
seeing the craft for a few days. Basically, they've been seeing them for over a course of either a week or so, and it was 2 craft, not just one. Also, I got Carlos to admit that the craft that I showed him in the video was identical to what he saw on the live stream, so that was awesome.
What craft did you show him?
The cigar one, the silver cigar one, that's on my.
Okay.
It's on my one of my latest shorts.
Okay.
I'll pull it up on X, but I mean, what if, again, if it did look like this, kind of like, if we're you know, assuming a drawing inference here, but if these things are the same, could they have been, you know, dropping from 80,000 feet down, you know, over that area, just like, you know, they did with the Nimitz, and then
For sure.
something happens, right? Or could that be where we derived the Tic Tac technology somewhere down the line? I don't think that matters as much.
Possibilities are limitless on what it could have been.
But I think it's safe to say that the military, they're clearly watching not just our airspace, but the planetary airspace. There's some sort of, like, I don't know, response, like rapid response team that, like Gene said, they do their other jobs, but when shit goes down and they get the call, you know, they're on a plane to wherever.
Well, America, they don't have any other job. You know, that's what I would point I was going to make in America. Like Gene was saying, yeah, 30 minutes. We have a team of SEALs on base, ready to go.
Yeah, ready.
I find it hard to believe that Brazil has that capability. I would think locally it's half farmer, half military person, rounding them up from the local village. You know, I just think back then, especially, it would be a big difference between assets America have versus assets Brazil had it.
Well,
that can reach anywhere within 30 minutes, basically.
Right. And within a day or two, they concede the body and the craft to the U.S. Air Force. Seemingly, they don't.
I don't think they had a choice. They were coming whether you wanted to or not. Like, we're landing, and that's that. So when the colonel said that there's going to be a paper trail, that's why I call bullshit on.
If I had a guess, I would say there has been an agreement between American allies for quite a while that if
100%.
something crashes, something anomalous, that America's coming to get it.
Dibs, yeah, 100. I agree with you absolutely.
So you guys,
I think the one other aspect of that too is, again, resources based. You know, would any of these other nations have the financial and technical resources to exploit whatever it is and properly investigate it? You know, so that may, again, it might not be just brute force that we're going in there taking it, but it very well may be a matter of that we have the capacity to handle it, to absorb the costs and everything associated with it. And real quick, if I can, I wanted to bring something up, because what part of the evidence that people were talking about were the smells and the odors. And so I dove into, again, my father-in-law's work, and mentioning nothing about the incident, you know, in Varginha or Brazil, but purely based upon the idea of the components that he describes being in there. If there were a crash, what smells might come from the crash? And essentially, it says that if any of the bearing feedstock escaped in a failure, the smell would be a sharp pool bleach / chlorine odor. And that in another part of it, if that burned in a crash, you'd get the acrid burnt plastic / electrical insulation kind of smell that people are most familiar with. So mostly a burnt plastic, electric, and chlorine type. And if I remember correctly, somebody was saying something like an ammonia smell.
Yeah, and so one thing I was a little confused at was when Dr. Idolo, in his testimony, he talked about how the body didn't have a smell. he's, and I don't know what if he's referring to, because this one was alive, right? So if it was the stuff that was, because that's where I got a little confused, because I'm trying to follow this sulfur smell, because I think that's a very unique detail. Coupling the fact with that, and sorry, my weed just arrived. I've been so concerned with where this went that I've been so unfocused. Anyway, thank you. The sulfur smell, because Dr. Idolo in his testimony said the body had no smell, and that threw me off. I was like, wait a second, because I thought they had to shut the hospital down. So what's bringing in that smell? Is it the slime that they excrete in the hot sun? That is a defense mechanism, because they're actually aquatic beings, giving them that red eye, horned eye look, red eye, horned head look as well. I mean, my mind just starts going a million miles per hour. What is emanating?
It could be a mixture of a few things. It could be the liquid that was in the craft itself that was getting on people, the viscous stuff. It could
That
be
white vapor, right?
Right. It could be their skin itself. They claim that a lot of the grays excrete from their skin. It could be nervous tick. Could be like, oh my God, I'm freaking out. I'm gonna die. Because you listen to what the doctor was saying. The alien was afraid and staring out the window, and then looking at him and looking out the window, like he wanted to leave. So clearly, I would assume that the alien's giving off some type of pheromone or off gassing of something. If that's the case, it's the only thing that I can think of. Or
Vito, FYI,
just how they smell. What?
Your microphones, at least I'm hearing. I don't know if anyone else, it's kind of in and out.
Yeah, it's StreamYard.
StreamYard?
Okay.
Yeah, man.
That what StreamYard does to you?
Yeah, bro, I'm like fighting with it. It's driving me crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Well,
Now, so let me ask: were there two different? Were there reports of smells associated with the crash and smells associated with the creature in the hospital, or
yes.
just one?
Because, okay, the Carlos smells it upon arrival at the scene, but I think it's safe to say that the craft was nowhere near the hospital, right? I think we could say that.
And they report the same smell at both.
And they reported the same smell at
Gotcha.
both.
All right.
So I don't know what it is, because, and that's what's throwing me off. I mean, could it just be this like smell that just encompasses, like I said, that the body's like in peril? Because anytime we hear about the smell, it's in some sort of, for the alien or for the being, it's in some sort of like situation you wouldn't want to be in on a planet that you're not from, in the hot sun in January, which is summer for Brazil, right?
And you know what? Aren't you reminded Independence Day, the movie, when Will Smith, the alien, crashes and he first sees the alien and he knocks it out.
To Earth, bitch.
And he's sitting having the cigar.
He
goes, and what is that smell?
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Holy
well
shit.
Done.
I'm telling you,
Done.
these movies have reality. I'm telling you.
Well, what did they say? Art imitates life, right?
It's a slow drip to disclosure, is what it is.
Holy shit! How has no one brought that up before? How is no
Gene Sicko, ladies and gentlemen.
That's why.
How has no one caught that detail before?
You got Whistling Mike in the chat. What up, Whistling Mike?
Damn, bro. Well, that is very interesting, because, like I said, when the girls come upon the creature, when Marco Shirizi comes upon the creature, and I don't even like using that word creature because it invokes this like monster in your mind. So when they come across the being, Marco, I mean, the thing's running across the street. It has no idea what it's like. It's not doing well. And he grabs it and detains the thing. So that's where he gets in trouble, right? He gets a scratch, and then his antibody, like something attacks his whole system. So, but the girls see it, and it's in the corner, kind of hunched over, trying to get out of the sun. And it's slimy. It's got like some slime look. It's got red eyes and horns. They think they see a demon. I mean, sulfur smell, red eyes. I'd think it was a demon too.
And the ones that are locks eyes with it, and it says either leave me alone or help me.
And that's another theme I was going to bring up, is this telepathic like communication between. So it's like when you look it directly in the eyes, something, maybe that's where you entangle with it, like where it can entangle itself with your consciousness or so. I don't know that I don't think it, but that's another commonality, is most of the witnesses had. I would be so interested if we could hear from Marco Shirizi today, if he had any, while he's holding it, right? He's holding it for the length of a car ride to the hospital. I mean, you have to start pondering, like, did he, because he was also pretty okay with everything in the hospital while he was dying. From what I understand, he knew that something wasn't right. The story, what they were telling, it wasn't right. But he told his sister, and I think you can quote me on this, this story is going to change the world. What did he know? Or what did he think was going to happen?
Well, he was holding an alien in his arms.
Yeah.
So you got to take from that point of view. He's like, holy shit, you know.
Like, I thought we were
once the public finds out about this, it's
Right.
you know, the world changes.
Right. He thinks all this, you know, the New York Times are going to show up.
Right.
He doesn't realize it's going to take quite the opposite term.
Right. And his mother is someone who's very interesting. And I remember talking to you guys about this on the ride home. His mother, she went along with the state secret. The sister describes her as being complacent.
Yeah,
Like
what do you think happened? They probably scared the shit out of her. Probably said,
He had no choice.
right,
Yeah.
do
Like,
this or else.
Your son died a hero. They probably gave her that whole spiel.
And then here's the other thing.
Probably gave her a nice pension. Sorry, go ahead, Vito.
Oh,
My
yeah.
bad, brother. They were talking about exhuming.
Go ahead.
They're talking about exhuming the body, right? What if that body's not there? Or what if it's a different body? That right there is going to be like the biggest. And that was the question I wanted to ask, but everybody.
Oh, shit.
That guy was yelling about freaking politics. That was my question, Joe. When we were saying I want to answer a question, that was what I wanted to ask. Well, what's the status of the body? What if the body's not there? Because that guy was right. That guy was right. If I look at it from a work biological hazard standpoint, you can't go putting a biological hazard like that in the grounds. If he did die from that, you just can't do that. Like you'll contaminate everything, especially it being alien. And if he did hypothetically die from that, and they all do know, you can't just go sticking a body in the ground with God knows what in it.
No, they fucking incinerated him.
Right. So that was my question.
That's a great point.
I didn't even think about that, dude.
And then we got to test the DNA for the body. What if it's totally not him? You know what I mean? So that's my thoughts, brother.
What a wild!
I know it's part of the woo, but I put nothing past him. You're talking about people who cut Dylan Borland's brake lines. They threw somebody out of a 14-story window. You got to think of all the crazy shit that's been done, man. This is nothing. This is nothing.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
We gotta be fair here. Allegedly cut his brake lines.
All right, well,
I don't think he'd make it up.
The dude who got launched out of the window, I believe that happened. I don't believe he decided I want to fly today because he was looking to get out. You know what I mean? He wasn't like, oh, let's flap my freaking wings. Let's be honest.
Are we talking about Forrestal?
Yes. I always forget his name.
Yeah, I think they either threw him out of the window or they threatened his family, and he did it. One or the other.
They
same
tossed
thing.
him.
Before we get too far off track,
sorry.
Each of you had some kind of time one-on-one with the witnesses. So I think it would be good for everybody listening. Like if you can each kind of take a few minutes and go through the one-on-ones that you had, and let's do it uninterrupted. So really, what did you talk about? What were your thoughts?
Co-host.
How did they, again, what was the read? Because that's, those are the points where you're up close and personal. So, I think that's worth giving a little bit of attention to, without distraction.
Before we do that, I have to jump off of here.
I was going to say, why don't Joe go first?
Go ahead, Joey.
Yeah. So I didn't talk to the witnesses afterwards. There's just too many people. I didn't feel like playing with the crowd, but I thought the witnesses were phenomenal. I thought the event was an absolute success. I don't think it does anything but move the conversation forward. For disclosure, the more media that that the disclosure subject gets, the better. I think it was awesome meeting you guys there. It was, meeting some other people in our community there was great. And I just think the whole thing was a success. Congratulations to James Fox for putting that together. And one thing I do want to say is James Fox is a very intelligent guy and a very impressive guy. And you can tell by talking to him for 1 second that he wholeheartedly believes in this case with every fiber of his being. So either everybody involved in this case is a master con artist and pulled the wool over his eyes, or there is some there. And I don't think there's any question about that. So hopefully we can keep digging and just keep uncovering the truth about what happened in Varginha. But thanks for having me on, and great show. And I'll leave you guys to it.
UAP Reporting Center on X.
Yeah. UAP Reporting Center on X. Same thing on YouTube. So give me a follow. I'm always posting stuff, and I appreciate it.
All right, brother.
All right,
See you
geez.
guys.
The hosting duties, I love it. I gotta do nothing. Joe, let's
Trying to wrangle cats. That's all.
let's chat sometime soon. I'd love to collab on something, man.
Yeah, anytime. Just let me know. Take care.
All right, and then it was 3. So, Vito, you're up next. When you got to sit and stand with the witnesses.
Yeah, so same as Joe, I really didn't talk. I wanted to just ask a question in the Q&A. The only real one I got to speak to was Carlos with the question of the craft, and that blew my mind because like he took a look at it for a second and was like, that is identical to what I saw, like literally identical. So that was the best part. But yeah, like Joe, I didn't want to bother them. There was too many people in their faces and stuff like that. I showed James Fox the video. His mind was kind of blown at that. And I said, Carlos said this was the vehicle. This is identical to what he saw. So that was about it. I mean, like I said, I was just chilling with like Nucatelli and Gino from the Y-Files and a couple of the other guys that just walking around and live streaming. I didn't do a lot of interviews at the end.
I'm trying to find.
You seem to have got a moment with Megan.
Yes, I got a fun little moment with Megan, where we pranked Bigfoot Disclosure Diaries as well, because he kind of like got us a couple. I love his videos, by the way. I think we need more of that. We need more levity in the community, and enough of the drama and the hatred and the doxing. We need just more togetherness and more like what the 4 of us did. I didn't know you guys from Adam. We got together in a car. We drove. We had a great time. Joe joined us because he didn't take the ride with us because he came from PA, and it was a blast. We need more of that. Like anytime there's something like that and I can get the time off, as long as you 2 boys are down, I'm down. Let's do it. Just get off our asses and get out there. I loved it.
Yeah, that was some of the more. I would say that was probably one of, if not the highlights of this year so far. And I know it's only been fucking 1 month out of the year. It's been a long. This month has been.
It's been a long month.
Year.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But that's what this whole thing. The moral, the theme, the things that we kept touching on, is leaving this digital world behind and getting out, touching grasses, as kind of cliche as it sounds, like getting out and getting boots on the ground and just, whether I've done that before. I've grown almost addicted to it at this point. Is actually like when an event like this happens, I almost feel a fear of missing out if I'm not there. And that is because of the opportunities, the even just like the feeling of like sitting in the room while it's happening. Even if you weren't a streamer or podcaster, just being there and hearing it for your own ears, not watching it online, like it just brings a heavier toll with it. It impacts you more because you're in the room. You feel the electricity. You feel the vibe. You feel what had to come together. Everything that had to work. Every piece of the puzzle that had to come together to show this final landscape. And
I definitely had FOMO of leaving early and Joe staying a night extra. I absolutely had FOMO. I wanted to stay so bad.
Right?
Yeah, because I was getting tired. Where'd you guys go? I'm like, shit.
I stayed a while after Contact in the Desert, and it wasn't like I had a had a fear of why didn't I leave already. So
Oh, is that bad? Yeah, yeah.
Well,
I'm definitely need to look into Contact, brother. I gotta find out.
Contact is just like
I want to go.
multiple days, and by the end of it, people are just like, "Dude, I'm out of here. I'm out of here. Get away. Don't touch me."
I could see that. I could totally see that. But I think it'd be blessed. The 3 or 4 of us going to Contact together.
Can
and
you
then
send me that video? Like, can you just DM it to me? I'm looking on your page. I can't find it.
Yeah, I got you.
I want to bring
I'll
it up.
just say the one other thing about that ride. I'm looking forward to the Ty was taking a lot of videos along that trip, and
yeah, he was sneaking.
Gino and I would catch him every now and then, so there's got to be some good outtakes in that.
Oh yeah, anytime it was like silence, I'm like, what is he doing back there? I look back there.
Yeah,
you know it, but I
but I don't get to experience that often because usually it's me with the camera. So it was great to like not be the director. So I thank you for that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was so good to just be the pretty face in front of the camera occasionally. You know what I mean? It really was. So thank you. Because usually I do what you do.
There was one point where I'm on the 2nd floor of the hotel and I'm looking down on you guys, and you guys are having some drinks, and it's all of you, everyone that's like Nucitelli, Gino. Cool. I'm looking down on you guys, and you guys cheers. And then I saw Gene ended up catching my eye, and he looked up and saw me, but no one else did for the whole time. And I got some of the shot where you guys toast. I was like, I could not have scripted that. Right? I could not have scripted that myself. I mean, I could have, but it wouldn't have looked the way it just like fucking
right. Awesome. It was candid. I love that.
Genuine. It was
candid moments. Candid moments are everything to me. I can't stand contrived. And also, thank God you're not one of those guys that are like, let's do another take, because I probably would have choked you. I can't do the fake. I love real. It's got to be real.
I get what you get. Right?
Yeah.
But I love it. I did get to. I have it on video too of my conversations with both the witnesses. And actually, while I was talking to Carlos D'Souza, all of a sudden, I'm asking him very, very pointed, very, very specific questions. And all of a sudden, from above me, I see a boom mic come over me. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Megan.
No,
Megan and her dude.
Brazilian. It was the Brazilians.
Oh shit! Nice.
Yeah, they just started because I was asking such good questions and like had such a flow.
Yeah, no, you were up there, dude. I was like, you know what? There's no point. Ty's got it.
Yeah, I was up there. I was flowing. I had the translator, like me and her. I talked to her for a few minutes before. I'm like, this is what I want to ask. Can we do this? And then just Brazilian camera crew just started surrounding me. But I asked. When I was with Carlos, I kept saying, I specifically looking into his eyes. He has these eyes that it's almost like you're looking into and I don't want to sound a certain way about this. I am a straight male, but he has very nice eyes.
He got hypnotized? Like, I think I love you.
I'm talking to him, and it's almost like I can feel what he's feeling. And every time I thank him,
very sincere. Yeah. Very sincere.
Yeah, every time I say, what you're doing, it takes heart, because you have to when it's a different language and there's that barrier, you start talking like you're talking to a 2-year-old for some reason. It's weird. But so I'm like expressing myself like a baboon, and I'm like, but he flips it every time. And he said, no, I wouldn't be telling this story if it wasn't for the warm embrace I felt from this community, this, James Fox, the Moment of Contact film. So, just the reason they are coming forward, people like that are coming forward right now, are because they feel comfortable with an audience like us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's such an important point, Ty. Yeah. And we can only imagine the limited contact really that they had with Americans in this space. They're mostly relying on James and his small team, who incidentally some of the got Gavin, Evolution, some of the guys who were assisting him that we met. I mean, shout out.
A lot of them are experiencers too. Like, they're good people. Yeah, Gavin's awesome.
The story they have, I mean, that's what I said. I don't care what you feel about James Fox or anything. That was a top class event. You can see the resources that were poured into that, not to make it a spectacle, but to make it accessible. You know, the translators, the crew, the ability to interact with the crew and talk to them. And you can tell those guys are top professionals themselves. And
Absolutely.
so that, you know, that's the first impression that these witnesses from Brazil are getting. And then they come here and they look, and there's a room full of people who are interested, who are there and being supportive and not attacking them per se.
Right. Yeah. They got
Again,
standing
just
ovations.
asking thoughtful questions about their experiences, and to have Representative Burleson in the front row, and then there was a representative of the Brazil, or a Brazilian senator who was there, not officially representing the Brazilian Senate. He came of his own accord, on his own dime, to support these witnesses, but spoke a lot about the interest in cooperating, you know, with the Americans
Do you
to help this.
do you think they will? Gene, I got a question. What's the legal authority to exhume that body? What would we have to go through, or what would have to? What would
You'd
they
have to get
go
permission
through?
from the parents, I would assume. Like you.
Well, it would. I mean, it would be the Brazil. So again, it's according to Brazilian laws. So I don't know the Brazilian laws.
They're
Obviously,
much more culturally
general.
in tune, right?
Well, they might be much more restrictive
That's what I
in
mean.
some
Yeah.
ways from a cultural / religious background. But all that aside, generally, what does it take to exhume a body? It takes evidence
There's that
has come
Boston.
forward after the burial that would lead to, you know, a reasonable suspicion or reasonable cause or probable cause, to question the manner of death. And the only way to resolve it is to re-examine the body again. So that's at least the standard in the US. Would the same evidence presented to a US judge to exhume the body be granted? You know, I don't know what that standard of evidence is in Brazil.
Right.
Yeah, it's got to be, but whatever their laws are. Ty, the link is in the chat.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, because when they had mentioned that, I was like, oh damn, that would be a power move if they could do that. But then again, like, are we crossing a line at that point? Because, like, morally, are we crossing a line to just to like, it's a real gray area, because, like, in my head, I'm like, oh God, I don't know if this is right. Like, I don't know if this is, should we be going this far?
Right.
But then
So
again, why
is it a
should it?
matter, you know, and that's the whole thing. Is it a matter of, based on this new evidence, or based on the evidence that's now come forward because of all of this, they want to examine, is there potentially a biological danger of some kind that's posed to the ground and groundwater? That's a case that might be able to be made, right? So somebody, they think,
Yeah.
oh, you know, this person got shot and they buried him, and then they found out, oh, he got shot with a, you know, uranium bullet, and it's still lodged inside the body and it's radioactive. You can bet your ass they're going to exhume the body, remove the, you know, bury it in the lead and all the rest of it. So, you know, if that's the case they're trying to make, that there is, or that by changing the cause of death has some net benefit for the family, perhaps. Historical significance. Again, we've seen historical figures who were exhumed to solve their murders, but, you know, we're talking centuries sometimes after the initial burial. You know, so I think it's a good thing to follow. something good to dig into a little bit more to understand the laws, understand
Literally.
the rationale behind the exhuming the body. And again, for the public,
The body.
and we're all out there, talking about this stuff. Let's get people's heads around the idea, right? They don't just exhume bodies because somebody said, it was
Yes,
because of an
yeah.
alien. And, these are long legal and medical professionals have to agree that there is a valid reason to do it.
Right.
I wonder, do they cremate in Brazil? Like, is it mandatory? That's a good question.
In 96 too. It's a different time.
Well, they wouldn't
And
be
all-
talking about exhuming anybody if there was mandatory cremation.
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right. So,
Yes,
so
I
like,
wonder. Someone said, I wonder what the gravesite would be like. I do too. I wonder if there is a gravesite. Like, is there some sort of memorial to him? Is that where he really is? Because I just.
Well, again,
in
like
good
everybody,
Brazil-
he's a regular person. His family would have buried him, however the family buries it. And it's, not going to be a giant, UFO with,
But was
alien
it?
head flowers around it just because he was involved in this incident.
Right. Well, I guess more of my question is if he died from an alien bacteria, right, or an alien
AIDS.
Oh God, you're gonna get me fucking canceled, dude.
Not for that.
I know. But if he died of some sort of literally unknown, non-human, biologically something, would they even release the body to the mother? Right? Would they even was that something that
can you take the chance of that getting loose? You have to think about that. You can't.
Yeah,
you don't know if it's an outbreak.
If we're basing it on okay, this really happened, right? That's the way he died by what these people said. There was some sort of infection that they threw every antibiotic / tool they had at it from their bat belt, and nothing even remotely worked. His body essentially started working against him. I assume that's not something you just release.
No, and I'm scared of it of them weaponizing whatever that was. God forbid they can weaponize it, and now they turn it on a population. I just don't trust this shit, man. Don't trust it.
That's what you say, and that's what you're saying. We're getting excited about. They very well could have just buried
somebody else
5 boulders.
Yeah, taking that body. There's no way they put that body in the ground.
Right.
They have to
still have to be, worked through and understood before I think there's ever a shovel going. A shovel in the ground isn't happening anytime soon.
He said it's. I could have swore they said it was like nothing they'd ever seen before.
Yeah, but even if it was still from the alien, so you don't know what specifically it was. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And someone said I'm from Brazil. I'd be Octavia. What is the cultural worst case scenario if they're really religious? What would the line in the sand be? Do you think they could actually pull off something like exhuming that body? And if not, why doesn't the Brazilian Congress just subpoena Eric Lopes? He's alive. We know where he is.
Again, very much the same. We say that of our own politicians.
Yeah, I said the same thing, Gene. Yeah.
Comparatively, right?
Yeah. Why didn't they do this? Why? It's because they know they're complicit in it. That's why.
Well, the I think is it what they show it in Moment of Contact. Is it the governor or mayor? I don't know. I think Varginha is kind of like a little big city, not like New York, but maybe I'm
curious if it's a hot spot over there too.
Lawrence,
are they seen often? That's what I'm curious about.
Hey, good idea. I'm gonna go in the background here, and I'm gonna run the characteristics and see where it sits on the on that chart of optimum conditions for craft operations.
Yeah.
I was also really taken aback by the soldier's story, when the soldier who basically said, I saw the body, I transported it, but he was completely incognito and voice altered.
Yeah.
That's the one that really stuck out to me, was him, because it's like, all right, dude, like you saw some shit. The colonel's story was great to me, but I don't think there's a paper trail. I think if the United States are doing some dark shit like this, they're just showing up and doing what they want. They're not going to leave a paper trail. I think that's, I mean, I don't know how military works, but I'm assuming Black Ops is just that. You don't need to know. We ain't telling you shit.
But beyond the the paperwork trail is super, would be super. But I think the bigger takeaway that the colonel was talking about is there are at least 30 or 40 people who were involved in a sudden trip to Brazil in 1996. And they might not know why they were going there. They might not know what was on the plane. They just know they went there and they came back, and calling on, and that those people, he said they're upwards of 70 now. I would say, they're possibly even a little bit younger. There are some 60-year-old retirees, perhaps, or former Air Force members who would have had a hand in that operation, and calling them forward, not to say, did you see an alien body? Did you see a UFO? Just the fact, did the flight happen? Can you recall how many boxes of materials were brought on? Was there anything strange? Did it strike? Were there any rumors? Was there anybody else who got on the plane with you? There's a lot of information, again, from that can be extracted. It's just identifying those people. And so I took his message as more of that call out for anybody who was watching, anyone who had a family member who served in the Air Force in the 90s and might have flown C-17s. Go ask grandpa, go ask Uncle Bob if he knew anything about this.
So UFOs around the world just said something about why didn't anybody else get it on the infection? It's because he was the only one that got scratched. That's what happened. I guess whatever that liquid was got into his cut, and that's what caused it. Ty, I sent it to your text message. The video itself.
Okay. But I think the infection part was, I mean,
because he got a cut under his armpit.
Marco. So Eric Lopes was the superior officer, the higher rank, and they were in like the personal car. They got the call to like Eric Lopes specifically. So Marco kind of only dies because he's friends with Eric, friendly enough where Eric got sent on a call, and Eric was like, "Hey, you want to come? Want to come with me? I got this bullshit call. Like, be on the lookout for something strange. Want to just drive around with me?" And then they come across the fucking thing. It runs right across the road. Marco, being the passenger, gets out and grapples the thing, has a little tussle. Assuming that's where he got scratched, right?
Just raw dogs at bare hands. It's crazy. I'm sorry.
Yeah, dude. That's
raw dog and an alien. Nope.
He did raw dog and alien. That's crazy.
Straight up, like bare to. No way in hell I'm doing that. I don't know what's on that alien, and I ain't getting nowhere near it.
But think about that. That's what they sent them out with, this amount of information, right? Hey, be on the lookout for something strange. Like, what does that mean? What does that mean? So Eric says, "Hey, Marco, like I just got this, I just got this bullshit call. We're going to go blockade Varginha looking for some, what they probably think is like something got out of the zoo, right? Something got out of the zoo, whatever. We're going to have to go fucking wrangle it up with the fire department. Just another night on the job in Varginha, right? And next thing you know, they come across this thing that's maybe not from this dimension.
Right.
They're not geared up for that. They're not in bacterial suits.
And as the resident career firefighter, it's silly to say, but like legitimately, we get called for some of the craziest shit. And it doesn't put I wouldn't think twice if we got a call for an alien. You know what I mean? Let's just we get called for random shit. It really is.
Again, they're not even calling for an alien. They're just saying be on the lookout for something strange.
Right.
right?
And they caught it
So
with a net, which makes me laugh. Like, imagine just
yeah,
throwing a freaking net on an alien. It's like, hey.
yeah. And that was the one that happened separate. So
Yeah.
I think the being that Marco Shirizi caught, I think is the same one that the girls saw in
Yes.
the thing. Because when they
Yes.
do the full view of the area, he's in that same area. But the fire department earlier that morning had caught the one that ends up,
In the box.
in the box. Yeah. So I don't know what happens, but that one doesn't make it out alive. It doesn't sound like. And then the one Marco, that's something again that I wanted to try to clear up, but I didn't really. I don't think it got cleared up because I want to know. Was there 2? Was it 3? What do they think? Like, did one of them get away? Because again, there was this. Again, there's other witnesses said that a craft was above Varginha a couple days later doing a grid search. Did one of them get out? Like,
Right.
So
let me ask,
what are the ins and outs?
They were talking about going, the team was headed back to Brazil. Did either of you glean any insights into,
I did not.
what was
They
happening when they
they
go
got
back?
they got mobbed, so like you couldn't really, you know what I mean? Ty killed it.
I got to both.
No,
of
you
them.
did. Yeah. I don't like.
Oh,
I hate crowds. I don't feel
So
like
with,
telling that shit.
so
the
that's
question
what I
was,
was saying.
yeah, their
Right.
insights into, so they were talking about they're going back, the James and the entire team. Any ideas what their sort of the next phase of this is going to look like? Did you glean that
Well,
from any of the discussions?
it's the 30th anniversary because remember 96. We're on 2006 now. I
Yeah.
mean 2006. Jesus.
That's as long as I've been with my wife, since 96. Yeah, it's crazy. 30 years.
2026. Yeah, so the 30-year anniversary. So actually on the 30th, they're doing something. They're doing a big press conference. And then Brazilian media. So the Brazilian TV they're doing this like 3 or 4 part series on Varginha. So I think that along with Moment of Contact, along with just this case kind of being kicked back up and fresh in people's minds with everything that's going on, the town clearly embraces it, right? We see that the mayor of the town is like, I think it happened, like talking to James, showing him around, yada yada. So I think we are in a place that we may see someone like Eric Lopes flip in the next couple years. I think what James is chasing right now is obviously the video. The video would be, that's the creme de la creme.
Yeah,
right?
that's the key to everything. That
What do
video.
you
why
guys
don't you
think?
go into some detail on that too? Because I think we sort of skirted over this video and the role of the video and what it supposedly shows and everything too.
So yeah, that's what
Because
confused me.
there were videos
bit.
circulating, right? I've seen a couple of them on X.
Yeah, the box, the guy,
Videos
the alien in the box.
circulating, supposedly. So again, to clarify for the audience, there has been no Scooby. There has been no video release or obtained, and what you're watching that's being circulated right now is likely
Is
AI.
legit. Yes.
But
So
yeah, if you want, dive into what that video, the details of that'd be good, so we sort of know what to be expecting.
I'll be right back. I gotta pee.
Multiple people. All right, I'm gonna drop you down then. Multiple people, including Military X, who was going to come forward. So that dude, Military X, is at a point right now where he was willing to come public in the United States, in DC. His visa got denied. Why? That's another question. But Military X, when he saw the being, there was another member of the army that was there that had this camera strapped, like just a camera around his neck, like one of those like video cameras, you know,
Yeah.
that you can hold. So it was around the service personnel's neck. He wasn't filming anything at the moment, but he had known that it, I mean, you didn't just bring it for no reason, right?
Right.
This had clearly filmed something, and it filmed, the body was right there. He never saw what got filmed, but he knows the existence because he saw the camera there in the same room with the being. Someone was clearly there to document it on film. Now, where that film went, I don't know. But several of the doctors also have either seen or have a video that was shot separately.
Right.
So this is something that was shot entirely. I think these are two different videos. So the doctors got their hands on something that they had them filmed themselves of the being, and then but the military also has something. So they're really pressing the angle for the doctors, and they think that's their best shot at obtaining whatever video evidence they can. I don't think the Brazilian government or whoever ended up with that military X spoken about footage,
Right.
that's locked away in some government, you know, deep state facility, I would assume. But the doctor's video has been rumored to exist. James confirmed it existed, and then he has slowly started to make relationships because he says he has a mole at the hospital who pointed them in the direction of Dr. Italo and all these guys. So that's his source, you know. That's because a lot of people were questioning, oh, Italo was the same guy that James got on video saying nothing happened. And James was like, yeah, he was lying. He was
Right.
People lie until they're ready not to, right? And a heart attack and cancer made Italo say, I'm not going to the grave with this. The other guy that did see the video and knows everything I know, he's already dead. So if I die, this story dies with me.
Yeah.
So that's why he came out.
Right. And that's, yeah, because so my understanding, correct me if I got it wrong, is that they had been approaching Dr. Italo through the years.
Yes.
And he denied.
Yep.
As you said, got ill, was in the hospital with a heart attack. And then the next time he knew James was in town, he sought James out.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah,
Is that correct?
that is correct.
Because he felt this, you know, he needed to get the burden off his chest, so to speak.
Unburdened. Because he just didn't want to imagine. And then, so really the question becomes, where's that fucking video? Right? And how critical is it? Does it become the only next step that could move this case forward? I argue no, but some might argue that that's the only thing that will seal the deal.
Wow.
What
And
do you guys
Android
think?
Android said in my chat that the CIA director of 1996 is still alive. John and Douche, 87 years old, and it was the CIA who denied James Fox the FOIA request. So I think he's the one to start with, personally.
Yeah.
Interesting. 87.
Deutsch,
That's a good
Deutsch,
age.
not douche.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Douche.
Deutsch. So, I mean, for you guys, like, is the video the only thing that you would accept as evidence to this case?
Video footage of the craft, footage of something.
Of the
I mean,
video?
I believe it happens. I 100% believe it happens.
Yeah.
I don't doubt for a second that it happened. There's too many eyewitnesses. There's too many people with the same story that's never changed. I loved seeing that the little girls are all grown up, seeing what they've become. One's a teacher, one's this, one's that. They're all respectable in their, like, none of them are fuck ups, basically. Like, they're all respectable in their fields. I think one was like a nurse, one was a teacher, one sister did this, one sister did that, and their stories never changed. So I loved it. I mean, I thought it was great. And like I said, I love the soldier's testimony. I thought that was the key. And yeah, notice that he's the one whose visa got canceled. You know what I mean? The soldier who's going to come through.
One of the
One of
seven.
the eight. Yeah.
By the way, we would have, if he had gotten his visa, and I spoke to Marco Leal. Marco's a very good friend of mine. And he was the one who made sure that I was going to be able to talk to everybody. Marco, his visa got denied. He was the boots on the ground for this whole thing, and his visa got denied. What's going on?
Short of even if the video was brought out, people would deny it. Short of an alien being dragged out, in a net, no one's going to believe it. They're just not.
Oh, we would have just not. We would have seen and been this. If you think that press conference was something, if Military X had stepped up onto that podium for the first time, showing his face, his rank, everything, and gave his testimony about seeing the being and how his whole life that testimony for Moment of Contact that he gives, right?
Yeah.
At the end, when he if he was able to do that, I think that would have sent this over, and I think they stopped it from happening.
So
I think they let just
the
enough.
Problem, Ty, right? We don't need convincing, right? We don't. Does it push it over? Does the video? It's exciting, yeah, that would be exciting. Wow, I'd love to see it, but you don't need to convince me. I think, as Vito was saying,
it's the normies. You got to convince the normies,
right? It fits the patterns. I think the people are credible. The details somewhat matter less in the grand scale of what it is that we're trying to achieve. And what we're trying to achieve collectively is disclosure, transparency from the government that begins to allow the normalization within society of the idea that there are things in the sky we can't explain, and whatever else it is that comes from it, whether it's immediate or in the preceding generations or the generations going forward, I guess, who will learn and experience more than any of us do. And so, what does a video coming forward do? It's again going to be, does it grab the attention of the mainstream media, of the science community, as there, are there materials and slides and things like that people are going to be able to examine that get us towards that. So I don't think that any one thing that is going to happen is going to necessarily blow the lid off of it. And all of a sudden we're walking down the street to McDonald's and there's UFOs going by like it's a normal Monday morning.
There's going to be no alien UFO highway above Route 2.
Yeah. So, and so that's why I think we've got to be responsible and try and manage expectations to a degree, with whatever it is that comes out. It is another piece of the puzzle. It hopefully hopefully garners more attention from people that normally don't pay attention to this.
That's why I'm grateful for News Nation.
Yeah,
and
that's
why
conversations.
But that's why I think this press conference, if it had been everything that James said it to be, right, with Military X coming forward for the first time, unveiling who he is in DC I think maybe that would have got on like Fox's radar, right? That maybe that would have elevated it that much more, like an actual, like, even though the neurosurgeon is a very, very vital, like his testimony, you could argue is more.
I felt it. Right? I felt it when he was like, I didn't want to die with this shit on my conscience.
But if someone from the military,
I felt that shit.
Came up there for the first time, showed themselves, Brazilian Congress members there, and then all the people that were supposed to be there, because there was like 4 other people too, I think. Marco, Military X.
There were 6 of them all together.
I think it would have elevated it to another level. So
but
this might not be the only time.
Yeah, and if we look at it from the perspective of not just this community and not just whatever information, because there was a lot of talk around, I wonder how many, counter intel
Wow.
operatives there
People
are in
are
the
here.
room, and
What
all
up,
the rest.
Gino?
What's that?
Gino's in my chat. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Hey,
yeah.
Gino.
So if and that there's
Thanks, Gino.
counterintelligence operatives in the audience and things like that, and I kept saying good, because if they are there to collect information, and they're there to collect that information on who is in the room, right? Look at who is in that room, who was in that room, right? There were media professionals, a lot of PhDs, researchers, military, ex-military people, government officials, government representatives. So it's not your East Bumfuck, alien convention,
West Bubblefuck.
right? It's not, it's
It
not
wasn't.
that. And
Yeah,
it
you had
shows,
guys like Jeff there. You had guys like Gino there.
Yeah, Gino. Yeah, real
shows
reliable. Yeah, yeah.
it
Big
shows,
players. Whitley
and it shows
Strieber.
that room got
Yeah, yeah.
full.
Whitley was there. Yeah,
Yeah.
that room got packed, dude.
Leslie Keane.
Whitney Strieber. Yeah.
Yeah, Leslie Keane.
Yeah. She, for all its errors, the 2017 New York Times article, that really, it was the catalyst that brought along the wave of change that we're currently seeing in the topic of ufology. Right.
So if there's an intel operative in that room collecting that information, who's there and what conversations are happening, and what does this mean towards disclosure? And they start, listen, this is very professionalized. These are serious people with legitimate backgrounds and highly credentialed and highly smart. And there's X% of that audience were streamers and independent journalists, and Martin Willis, our friend Martin Willis, Ty from podcast UFO, who's been doing this 30 years himself.
Every fucking place I go, I look over
everywhere. He was right there.
Like, Jesus.
He was with Science Bob. I had the chance to,
Yeah, Bob was cool. I like Bob. Bob's cool.
By the way, Bob, you owe me a fucking hour, you bastard. You owe me an hour. But go ahead.
Somebody tag Science Bob. He's been called out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, from they looking in at that event, if they're trying to gauge the movement and the momentum, and they try to measure, can the 400 seat, auditorium at the National Press Center get filled? That question was answered resoundingly, yes.
It definitely got filled.
And that people are coming in from all over the country, and even to Megan's credit, and not, to badmouth, News Nation, Megan flew in there on her own dime.
Yeah, that's right. Sure. I was going to touch on that. I'm grateful for Megan and
yeah,
and the fact that they're going on their own money. Like she didn't get paid to go there to do that. It came out of her pocket. She bought a brand new iPhone, that little adorable pink holder she had with it. Like, dude, it's messed up, man. For somebody like that, that's moving the needle. Her and Ross are moving the needle on this stuff, getting it out to normal people. It's making it to where, like, my friends who normally mock and make fun of me for this shit are asking me questions about it. So, like, it's doing what it's supposed to do.
And you guys know, I had, well, before we knew Megan was going to be there, was in communication with Ross, and I said to him, we are going there and are going to have video. I don't know if you have anything going on or whatever, but would be happy to share, what these guys are all, will, throw you whatever they have if you'd like it. And then he, said, oh, well, yeah, Megan's going to go now. So
yeah, she,
just be ready to do the work and support whoever. Right.
Yeah.
There are 65 watching us on X right now, guys. If you have any questions, either hop into mine or Ty's streams on YouTube. If you have questions, there's 65 watching us on X, which is great.
I can see 136 in mine there.
Oh shit! Nice.
Yeah. 136 in mine, 111 in Ty's, 64
Dope.
in yours.
Who gives a fuck?
Dope.
Yeah, but just to say, get over to YouTube if you want to ask questions.
Yeah, if you want to ask questions. Yeah, that's not. I'm not.
I don't do this for them. I do it for me. No, I'm just kidding. I love everybody who supports. Yeah, and I'm
And a shout out. Oh, hold on, real quick. Well, a shout out to Hannibal, the Hannibal UFO channel. He's allowing us to stream over his channel too.
Dope.
We help each other. So again, another guy, former pro wrestler or pro wrestler, has got his wrestling channel, his UFO channel, and allows
I
us
should
to go-
I should link him up with my boy Chase. He does all the wrestling. He does Buff Bagwell's channel on YouTube and stuff.
Oh,
And
all right.
and Maven. He works with Maven.
Hannibal's awesome. He's he gets all the 80s guys that I just I grew all my childhood heroes. He's always
Yeah, of course.
But I forget where I was going. You beat me there.
My bad.
No. It's okay.
Talk about the sharing of the information, sharing of the getting out there, sharing the stuff.
That was kind of what that's the underlying tone. Again, it's one thing to watch, and like there's nothing wrong with like if you live in the middle of the country or live in a different country, and the online part of the community is really that's really all you engage with. That's not a problem if you know your place. Like if you know what you're delivering, what you're giving back, and if you found your purpose, I think that's like, to each their own, to all the better. But getting out there and being part of the change that you want to see in the community it's got to be more of a priority for people across the board. It's not just one side. It's not just the other. Get out there, whether it's making videos or interviewing people or just chasing down cases, literal casework. We need more casework, honestly. I think that's my personal opinion, but and we, I think just a more united front. And one thing I can say about the room that day is it felt united.
Yeah.
We were all there when the standing ovations were happening.
Oh wow.
That didn't happen in Congress. I'd never been, I don't really see that outside of like sporting events. So after Carlos gave like that impactful, very like heartfelt ending to his, people are on their feet. I was looking around going, holy shit.
You could feel it. You could feel the emotion from the first speech to Burleson's. You could feel the emotion. It built. It was great. Burleson's speech, I was like, fuck yeah. I felt like I did when I first heard Dylan Borland put out his call to for help from people. Like I really did. I was like, hell yeah, brother. This is awesome. You know what I mean? Like I felt like I was part of something.
I've talked to Burleson on many occasions, and Gene pointed this out.
He's fired up.
There was a time where it felt like his enthusiasm dipped and he had a renewed energy. And I was definitely witness to that. People like Steve Bassett, for everything that everyone says about the guy, he's consistent. He's there, and he's another one of these people that works very hard behind the scenes. And he's a great. The networking part of this is really fun, and getting to meet people from all different walks of life. And Vito, didn't know you before. I hate you now. Just kidding. No. But this is the reason we do it.
Hell yeah, brother.
I was joking on the way down. I think it's is it Gabe that pops in some spaces I'm on, and a couple of times he said, "Oh, Gene's the classiest guy I've met on X." And I said to Vito, I said, if you ever hear him say that, you can be like, "Oh, you haven't spent 8 hours in a car with him."
Way to hear him fart.
Not on the last leg of that trip with an hour left crossing into Massachusetts, talking about certain types. But one thing I wanted to bring up, guys, and you guys are like my antenna for this. Obviously, I started editing the longer, because I'm going to put out like a really polished version of our trip. It in a nice way, and it's going to include all of the interviews I did with you guys, with Burleson, with Whitley. All of it's going to be woven into it somehow, and it's going to be really nice, and it's going to be really fun.
I'm looking forward to it. I can wait to
That's
see it.
gonna come out. I've been waiting to release this episode with Gene and Nat for so long. We had to refilm it. I owe it to him to get this goddamn interview out. So that's my next thing that I'm like making sure it's already scheduled to come out on next Sunday. But this video is going to be really fun. It's been fun to look and put together. But I was watching something. I was flipping through the X feed, and I came across last night. I came across Disclosure tonight, and they were talking about what's going on there. The host stepped down. Like, I just want to know. I try to pay attention to everything.
I don't know.
Well, I'll go first, and actually, and then I wanted to go have a smoke anyway. So on Disclosure tonight, obviously, people that follow know Thomas Fessler and Mike Disclosure host it. They know they have a ongoing conflict with others in the community as well that goes back and forth. Understatement, right? Yeah. Last night, so there was some actions that I think Vito would want to get into that occurred recently, and as a result of those, Thomas announced that Mike was on a hiatus from the show. And
okay.
Hopefully, so listen, I had jumped on last night and kind of helped out co-hosting. My hope in my heart, everybody, again, temperature gets lowered and people dive into what it is that we're all here for. That will be my, ideology and just wanting to see everybody get along, go. But I know reality is much different from that as well. So, Vito, you were a little bit closer to that incident, so I don't want to.
I mean, I didn't want to be. I just wanted to show up on the show, support you, my new friend, talk about our trip, talk about what we had plans, like what we were gonna get going and stuff. I did not at all expect to be lambasted like that. Like, it literally felt like. It almost felt like I was ambushed, to be honest with you. And like, obviously it's not anyone's fault. I went on there. I went on there thinking that I could just talk about our trip, talk about my channel, promote what we got going on, promote what I got coming up, etc. And unfortunately, they happened to dox Red Panda with my stupid face, my big, dumb, goofy looking face under there. And, it's my own fault for not paying attention. I had been partying a little bit. I just got promoted on Monday. So it's Friday. I was having
fair enough.
A nice, you know what I mean? A nice, relaxing Friday.
Anyone out there who doesn't understand how that show is set up, I've done it. You are in like a Google Meet. Unless you're monitoring the YouTube, like if you're watching the YouTube,
which usually I do,
what is on the screen.
Right. And I was more distracted.
Google Meet.
I was distracted at the way they had it set up. Like, anybody who knows me, knows my channels, knows I like interactivity. And I love how that Google Meet is set up. I love how it's set up with Google Meet. I'm going to be doing something very similar, if not almost identical to what they're doing. So that way people can come, because my whole thing is about having anybody on to give their story, blah, blah, blah. And then to have it feel like it's a family and a community. So that would add to it. So I was mesmerized by the back chat and all the cool stuff that was going on. And then the first 25 to 30 minutes of being on there, not being on there, but being in the back chat, I spent changing my name because I didn't want my government name, first and last name, to be up on this channel. That's, that is got a freaking
you realized you made a mistake. Yeah, you were like,
yeah, and I wasn't. Listen, I'm not here to fight anyone's battles. Had I seen what was posted on the screen, I 100% would have said, yo, what the fuck's going on, guys? Like, that's not even remotely cool. And I would have called them out on it. Unfortunately, I was completely distracted by everything else. Had no idea why the show ended early. Had no idea what the doxing was. Like, I just did not know. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not there to fight. And I'm not shitting on Red or Chupa. Like, these dudes are going through it, man. And they don't deserve to be going through. No one deserves to be going through that shit. To be worried about your families, your sisters, your mothers, your brothers, worried about some random ass weirdo showing up and Charlie Kirking you. That's why I've not gotten into the politics side of this stuff, because I know how I am. It's scary, dude. After watching somebody get murdered on TV in front of their kids, I ain't down with that, brother. I want to walk my 3 girls down the aisle. I want to see my, hold my son's kids. Hopefully, see my son become a fireman like me, follow my footsteps.
And again,
I'm not here for people fucking around. Like, I don't do the doxing shit. So
no one should. Again,
I don't stand for that.
Again, it's this disassociation. It's this weird dichotomy between like the X communities or like the online world.
It's wild, bro. It's straight up.
That gets taken into the real world. Like even when you guys were literally in the National Press Club, and I got caught in an anti-protest.
Yeah, how the hell did you? I'm sorry you didn't get carried away, dog. I don't know what you were doing out there.
All of a sudden, I'm in the middle of a protest,
and
I'm just like, "Oh shit!" Like, this is real. Like, this is real. And I was like, I should probably leave. I should probably get out of here.
Oh hell yeah, dude! Because it could turn bad, and he said this, and next thing you know, you're getting dragged down the street
in a moment's notice.
Right.
And again, I did see the reason I did bring it up is because I wanted you to be able to get that off your chest. I know that wasn't fair to you because I saw that picture and I was like, wait, that's weird. I didn't
even see it until way later. Hours later, I didn't even see it. Like when I posted that video of me saying, "Yo, this isn't what I'm down for," that's when I realized what the picture was. Because Patrick from Vedit called me out in his Discord, was like, "Yo, how?" I've known you for a year. How are you down with this? And then I didn't understand what he was talking about at first. I'm like, I just went on the show. What was the problem? And he's like, oh, they doxed Red Panda. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then he showed the screenshot. But again, I'm still 8 drinks in. Still, it's midnight. I'm goofy. So I didn't realize it until I saw the actual screenshots. Was like, holy crap. Like, that is insane. And then that's when I was like, yo, this is not good. That is not okay. If I had seen that and realized what they did, I would have said something. Number 2, I don't believe for a second that Michael Disclosure is separated from that show. They can do what they want. I call bullshit. You don't wait a week, release nothing, and then all of a sudden, oh, he's no longer on the show. I bet you give it 3 months, you'll see his goofy ass back on there. And again, none of my business. I don't care. I just don't get down with the fuckery. I really don't. I'm here for disclosure and UFOs. That is it.
My man, did you see? And thank you guys for clearing that up. I was like, I know there was like some confusion there, so I just want to make sure that was kind of all taken care of. And but did you see did you see that the directed energy that the government, essentially the military, a couple things before we wrap up, that they essentially confirmed that directed energy weapons exist?
Yeah, I mean, dude,
crazy.
Hold on. What's there to confirm? You're watching them zap those boats. What do you think is zapping those boats? The fishing boats. It isn't farting. Like, it's not wind.
There's an argument.
Those aren't missiles. That's a laser, dude.
The reason I bring this up in this context is if the military say, you know how we talked about the military tracking the craft in Varginha?
Right.
What if they brought it down?
In 96, it's possible. It's possible. Well, they knew about it. They knew about it.
And if we're using directed energy weapons and we just shoot these things out of the sky and respond, and we call them gifts, right?
Right.
Like Diana Pasolka, in her book, the guy Tip Taylor had referred to some of these crashes as gifts. So are we 5-finger discounting these craft and shooting them down? Or,
that's got me. That's got me really worried if we are shooting down these craft, because if somebody shot down our craft, I want vengeance and
entered us into an interplanetary war without.
Man. Yeah. So it's gotta be. Yeah, that's what scares me is if they are fucking around and knocking these things out of the sky.
If we are engaging them kinetically, it shows way more about the restraint of them than it does about the nature of human beings.
Well, yeah, I mean, we don't know if they're getting even. They could be nuking the shit out of things. We just don't know about it.
They could just be abducting and being
that's what my fear has been, is that all of these missing people is from abductions. There's just too many people that go missing randomly.
Do you think like
no trace?
The missing 411 stuff? Have you seen that?
Missing what is it?
411.
No, what's that?
Look into David Politis, missing 411. He talks
Uh,
about the people that go missing in like state parks and shit.
Yeah, just gone. Just gone.
Yeah. Yeah. He thinks it's connected to all this stuff.
I kind of do too, and I'm worried by that. Like, you know, I don't want to be a doomer, but there's a reason that they're here, and we're called containers. Bless you.
Thank you.
You know what I mean?
That's an interesting point too. You raised the container thing. What, like, again, Gene and I were spitballing so much shit, but like we talked about, like, you know, again, what if these, what would happen, you know, if we found out that we were kinetically engaging them, and our government has just been willy-nilly shooting these fucking things down, potentially entering us into not just World War III, but world wars, like
War
worlds.
of worlds.
Yeah, yeah.
World, that's what I meant.
Galaxy Wars. Fuck world.
And that was something I stepped out to have a smoke break, and I was listening.
That's why I
and
love having my own studio, baby.
Yeah, when you were talking about the direct energy weapons and the possibility of that being used in Varginha, in the research that I've done, that was one of the things I found interesting, was that I ran this whole assessment on whether there were technologies developed by the government that could specifically take down the craft as it is detailed in my father-in-law's body of work, reverse engineering a UFO. And, what I determined was, yes, high power microwave weapons, HARP and ionosphere heaters, and electromagnetic EMP weapons. Those were the things that came up. So looking at, again, a body of work from the 1980s, government programs, how did they develop weapons that could specifically take down this type of craft? And then we look at a case like Varginha, where you see an apparent unknown cause of what was causing this craft to begin to smoke, and think
like
that
had a
sounds
piece
like weapons, a laser type weapon of some kind.
Yeah,
Again,
what caused it to rip in half? Like, what caused that?
well, right, and that because there were the two farmers in the original cut of Moment of Contact. They might even be in the new one, I forget. But the farmers that also saw it, like it was in trouble, and it was missing a piece. It looked like a school bus, and it was like missing a piece out of the back, and it was smoking. So what causes that, right? I think, do we have some sort of global, whether it's global, I don't know, but some sort of, maybe it's even like hemisphere based, like over North America, right? Where the United States and the ally or the NATO or anyone, you know what I mean? That sector, we're just like, hey, if anything, comes into this space, like, it's bing, directed energy weapon, try to retrieve it. We have these rapid response teams to go get it. But maybe they've figured out, like, what craft can we shoot at? What ones will defend themselves? Like in Russia, we know that there was that one that did defend itself. So if they are kinetically engaging, that's a whole nother level to the story, because we're seeing it when, again, our perception of this case starts when Carlos sees it in trouble. I want to know, how did it get in that trouble?
Yeah.
Clearly something, because if there was no storms, no electromagnetic anything, no nuclear weapons, no EMPs, something fucked that thing up. And what was it? That's a valid question. Now, do you think we had that ability to knock these things?
And why were they so comfortable after being retrieved? Why did they show that humbleness?
That's a good question.
Like,
so to your question, Vito, did we have that capacity in 96? Well, absolutely. What you have to consider is when the United States comes out and says, here's our latest, most advanced technology, that's code word for, this is 25 years old and we're already retiring it.
Yeah.
And
good call.
so that's
now
why
it's public.
we're talking about it at this point. I go back to my experience in the oil and gas industry in the early to mid 2000s. So talking 2005 to 2010 period, let's say specifically. I know, we were deploying
Yeah, I think so.
LRADs and sonic weapons and systems to deter piracy against offshore platforms. We had the sonic systems being put on ships to secure them from piracy, going through the Malacca Straits and other vulnerable checkpoints, going down the coast of East Africa. So these were things that were already in 2005 available commercially, let's say, within the critical infrastructure industries. So we're talking only 10 years from Varginha to that point. So, yeah, absolutely. It was deployed, known about, used. I even remember my Air Force days. I got out in 99. Drones, really starting to make their way into the force, and looking at the controller, and it was like a PlayStation controller. I remember I was like, oh, how brilliant. You're training you're training generations of future pilots, and they don't even know they're being trained as future pilots because everything's literally on a PlayStation controller.
I would love to see what Dylan Borland saw when he was operating drones. Like, I would just love to have him just have a little conversation.
There's
I can imagine that guy's seen.
Isn't there? There's this technology that I was just listening to a show, and they were talking about it, and I had to double check that this is real, because that's how fucking crazy it sounded to me. Apparently the military has these lasers. They're lasers, and if you come into contact, you can hear warning.
God.
Yeah, warning. You have entered a fucking facility. Restricted area. It is unlawful to enter this area without permission of the installation commander. Section 21, Internal Security Act of 1950. And it goes and reads that whole spiel. They really fucking have that.
Yes. And again, we were
as it's zapping you.
Yeah, we were using something similar in oil and gas. And we had a system that would make you feel, so we knew if you had headphones on, then you were already aware that the platform of the ship was outfitted with that kind of system. And then we had another one that would just make everybody start vomiting.
No.
And incapacitate them that way.
Well, look at the rumors that the Venezuelan troops said. He was like, we didn't even know what the fuck hit us or where they came from. It incapacitated everybody.
The Cuban soldiers went home, and
yeah.
And on this again, Eric Hecker, former.
I was going to bring him up.
I was on his coffee talk this morning, and what I appreciate about him, he is not above the "I told you so," and he is justly saying it loudly and proudly. This is exactly what he was talking about.
I want to interview him.
I was going to bring him up because him and I.
Me too, actually. Yeah.
I was going to bring him up because, well, him and I kind of got into not an argument, but just like a weird situation when I was interviewing Burleson. But I do feel that he's not I don't want to say vindicated today by this confirmation, but I think it is one step closer for him to be able to say, listen, what I'm saying is not outlandish. It's not crazy that this neutrino detector is not just a passive. It doesn't just collect; it can transmit. Right? And it caused this.
And the stretch, and the stretches are not so much of a stretch anymore, as other people wanted to frame them.
There's people, I know guys that think that 9/11 was a literal Project Bluebeam. That those planes weren't real, and that they hit the tower. I know this is a sore subject. Trust me, I know that. But they think that that day they used, because Dr. Judy Wood's whole thing, right? Where did the rubble go? Because jet fuel, last time I checked, it doesn't dustify a building. Not one that is has a literal core that is pure steel, right? And it was reinforced for this very specific reason. How does that just dustify those towers? That part doesn't add up. Directed energy weapons, that does.
I mean, being a firefighter and coming from this background, I was always on the fence with it, and I just don't know. Do I think that they took a year and a half to plant explosives in the building? No. Do I think that they found a way to knock the building down using the planes and the jet fuel, etc.? Absolutely. Do I think that it was an inside job? Without a doubt. There's just so many.
Yeah,
I think they found out that it was going to happen, and they didn't. They
let it. They
didn't, but they didn't just let it happen. They needed to make sure.
Yeah, that they went down.
That they went down, but they caused the least damage, because you have to remember what's right under the World Trade Center.
I really don't know.
Subway.
The water. The thing that dams the water, that holds that bay back.
Well, it's all. I mean, the entire 90% of Manhattan is reclaimed from the sea anyway, and again, oil and gas experience. One of the top things that we talked about, and it was a misconception even when we were dealing with the government on a lot of their threat info and things like that, is this idea that things are built to fail catastrophically, and when they fail catastrophically, cause the least amount of damage. But I think we're going down another rabbit hole. We're talking about Eric and
yeah, we did. I did want to show, because I've had it,
but I think Vito, yeah, absolutely, it would be a brilliant interview.
Yeah.
For you to have. He's a Long Island guy.
I tried
your language.
I tried. I guess he looked at me as a grifter, because I said I'm trying to be like, and again, I'm not saying I'm trying to be Julian Dory, but I'm like, I want to do it like, similar to what Julian Dory's doing. I want to interview, etc., all that shit. You know what I mean? And he didn't like it. So
we'll talk. We'll have a chat with him.
Yeah, I talk to him in a minute. In a heartbeat.
No, we'll have a chat on your behalf.
And he's a fellow firefighter. So I'm like, of course I want to talk to this guy.
Yeah.
But 100%. I was gonna fly him here to Boston and he lives in the worst fucking state.
He's Alaska, isn't he? He's like fucking Alaska, and he loves it.
To fly that guy anywhere cost a fortune for some reason.
I can imagine. He's a cool dude though. I have no ill will. I talk to him and anybody in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I get on that coffee talk every morning, and I listen a lot, but also join in. Great, group of folks that jump in there. Super intelligent folks too. It's always an intellectual conversation.
So the video that Vito showed so I want to make this very clear. The video that Vito walked up and showed to Carlos D'Souza said, what did you say, Vito?
I just said, can you please take a look at this and tell me if this is similar to what you saw? Similar. And he literally said it's identical.
This is the video. Huh.
Vito, where'd that video come from?
Did it just replay?
It's a video. It's only like 20 or 30 seconds long.
Oh, okay.
It's a video that I think John Stewart shared from TikTok, and I took it and repurposed it and put my own music on, etc. But I've seen this video. I've seen this video a lot, so I'm like,
I was gonna say, here's my one thing. I think, again, could it be that it did look very similar to that, but could it be that that's a balloon? I don't know.
I don't think so, because that is actually stabilized. That video is not. When you're seeing it, it's moving around. Like the actual, I think the original video of it, it's moving weird. That's actually stabilized and like redone.
Yeah, Jimmy Church.
Like they stabilize the shit out of that.
Jimmy Church talks about a sighting like that, where
And it's flying weird.
Looked,
it's just flipping.
Yeah, and it was like flip it exactly.
Yeah, and that's what I'm thinking. Like, yo, I could imagine being in that fucking thing. Like, it's like being on the worst ride ever.
But look at what a solar balloon looks like. If you look into that, it's a very interesting dynamic. Yeah, I think it would give you a. Is that real?
What's up?
Oh shit!
What do you say,
dude? What is up, man?
Hey,
I say so already.
I hope you don't mind. I may have snuck him the link. I hope you don't mind.
Oh, that's more than okay, dude.
He's like, I'll fucking kill you in the back channel. What up, Gino?
But have you?
Hey, forget about it.
I would say look into a solar balloon. But Gino, what's going on, brother?
Not much. Just
who's this guy? Who's this random guy? Who's this random guy?
It's just me.
It's just Gino.
Thanks for pulling me up here, guys. Really enjoyed hanging out with you guys this weekend. I got a chance to meet Gene before you two guys, so we had a good rapport. He made me feel welcome as soon as I got down there in DC, because I didn't know anyone going. James wrote me.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't. Well, I didn't speak to anyone. I just wasn't paying enough attention right before I left, and again, James wrote me, told me he was doing it. I said, look, I'll jump on a plane. I'll be there tomorrow. So, I was glad to get to spend some time with you guys and, hear everyone's thoughts on what we had going on there. You guys did a great wrap-up job here.
Oh, wow. Thank you, man. I appreciate that so much. Especially coming from you, that is, wow. Thank you.
What was your 10 cents of it all, Gino? And you hung out another day, right?
I know. I'm so jealous.
I did. I wound up spending some time with James, me, James, and Jeff, and Taylor from Planetary HQ went out that night. Had some really great conversations. I can tell you to stick with the presentation. What few of my main takeaways were: number one, Burleson had an amazing speech. Really, really felt like that was a highlight for me. Secondly, I would say this is the most important case in UFO history of biologics. Like, we keep hearing biologics, when they're talking to Congress. Hey, there's biologics, but no one wants to talk about what are the biologics. Are we talking about mushroom spores? Are we talking about things moving around? What are we talking about as far as biologics here? Now, and then if we go back in history, we're talking about biologics that were pulled out of Roswell. Do we know if that's true? We don't know if that's true. It's so far back. Everyone who was there is no longer alive. So I think for the most part, because again, what are we talking about? 80 years ago. So if they were 20 years old at the time, they would have been, they'd have to be 100 now. So no one knows for sure as an eyewitness to Roswell. But here we have a recent case where we have multiple people that are testifying to there being an actual entity, a moving around living being. That's very important because, like, I have, plenty of friends. I don't think I could get 6 of them to lie for me and say they saw an alien with me, especially for years. And these people don't know each other. The girls had nothing to do with the doctor. There's no connection. There's no connection to these people. The doctors aren't in the military. They have no reason, to say the same thing as military X. So it's very interesting to me that here we're talking about the first live case of biologics that's being taken seriously. Like, there's technology involved, of course.
From 30 years ago. It's recent. It's recent.
Well, the people are alive. We're talking to them. We're face to face, looking at their tears, seeing their emotion, and they could all be the best actors in the world. I don't think so. That's not what I get from these people, especially because the only monetization that's ever happened on it is James Fox's movie. He's not paying them, as far as I know. Maybe he is, but they're not becoming. They're not having their lives changed to where they're millionaires or something along those lines over this. So so what's the incentive for them? I don't see it.
And actually,
the doctor said it. Idolo said, "I'm not here for that. I'm
well,
not selling anything."
To cap on Gino's point, in the if anyone watched the new cut of Moment of Contact, I keep forgetting what the tagline is. I think it's revelations for alien contact, something to that degree.
Yeah.
When the doctor when Idolo first brings James's crew in, he brings them into the hospital and they just start filming. And then they get spotted by the owners of the hospital. And Idolo says, "I think I just lost my job." Right? Like, because then they had to leave. And then they regrouped at a coffee shop. So, he's a neurosurgeon, not just 10 years ago, but like as of today, a week ago, while he's doing that testimony. So it's
right.
He's putting why do it at such an age, right? Like it doesn't, I don't see that angle of like, oh, just another grifter telling a story. Really?
Right. So again, that's why these witnesses mattered most to me. Now, there's also technology involved. We have a downed craft. Where's that downed craft? What happened to it? Who has it? Did it get flown back to the United States? Obviously, we heard from the general. Was he a general that stood up and said, "Look, there's got to be records. There's records
Colonel.
of these flights, Colonel. These flights, these flights. There should be some kind of record." Now, I know we're talking about 30 years ago. So, computers were just gaining their momentum at that point. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. So, if it does exist, I'd love that for them to find that, because that would be a big piece of the puzzle. But again, let's put the technology aside and only concentrate on the living being. Now, we also have the military soldier who died of the bacterial infection. Now, a lot of people were trying to debunk it, saying, well, that bacterial infection, they said was alien, but turns out it's not alien. It is found on the Earth. However, the doctors did testify that it acted differently than they've ever seen that bacteria act on Earth. So, so did that bacteria interact with something that then, when the soldier was scratched, that's why it reacted differently. But there's no doubt that soldier died. That soldier's sister testified. She looked very credible. She lost her brother. She's upset about it. She wants answers. So again, that was probably the most important thing for me. Again, to have a case on biologics, because I can't think of another one. Now, we got, if you go back to Coast, you got the guy with the alien in the freezer with video, things like that. The alien killed his dog. He punched him out, or he hit him with a stick, and then he.
Oh my God! Yeah, bro, that was a great story, though. That story was crazy.
It's a great story, but I think that's what we're stuck with, is a story. There's only one person who ever seen that alien. So so that, again, every time we talk about,
you described it as like as the complete 360.
Yeah. So every time we're hearing alien stories, it's typically one person. Like even Mike Batista, who is Skywatcher. He said these things landed. He recorded them, but it's him. What do you mean? What do you mean?
Okay, thank you.
Why can't more people be there? Why are we only dealing with one person at a time? Here we have multiple credible witnesses. It should
uncorrelated. there's nothing that ties all these people together. They're all talking. I think you're absolutely right. This might be and whether there is another case that isn't known about, well, that's the problem. It's not known about, right? And we know about this one. It's fresh. It's 96. Most of the witnesses, if not all of them, are alive, give or take, or have been on record at least. And it touches on all of the thing: crash retrieval, biologics, witness intimidation, cover up. It hits on every major facet of conspiracy. So whoever you are, and then just as a human, it should hit you as we might not be alone. Like if that doesn't grip you, then what the fuck will?
So where do you think it needs to go next, Gino, based on your read of the situation?
Well, that's a hard call for me. I'm not sure what to do next. We're going to platform James. We want to get his the word out as best as possible. We did we did the original Varginha case with Moment of Contact and got 3 million views. I want to get as many eyeballs on it as possible, especially because this is one of the cases that I feel I've put a question mark on AJ's mind about whether it's real or fake.
Because he's pretty conservative when it comes to the cases he believes.
Right, and he's. I think the jury's still out for him on Varginha. If you watch our episode, mainly I think there was some debunking of the girls, and I don't want to say debunking, just other sides of the story. I think what was said that we found out there on the internet was that there was a really badly kind of downtrodden homeless guy who in the area who was always dirty, things like that. So can you mistake that guy for an alien? I guess. Again, that's just the other info that's out there. However, that doesn't explain the doctors. That doesn't explain Military X. Also, which we didn't see down in DC, but from the original video, there was the other family that said, "Hey, we seen a UFO."
Yeah,
the search grid.
The one that still won't even go on record. They were filmed from the back. That's the one that I brought up earlier. The one that was doing the grid pattern after. It was almost like a search and rescue.
Yeah, it was looking for them probably.
And that was a disc-shaped craft. And the main guy, like when you hear them, and Gino, I'm sorry, you just fired me up about that part because I remembered something that really like set me off with that guy was he even literally, like when you watch that scene from the film, right? The family's remembering it and they're going tit for tat. Like they're remembering like a Super Bowl Sunday memory, right? They're like finishing each other's sentences. They're jumping in at when this guy's like, when it was so raw and so like just that family dynamic. And then the guy even says like, James is like, are you sure? Are you sure? And he's like, I stood there for 5 extra minutes making sure I was sure of what I was seeing because it was like that crazy. So that part I feel like does get left out a lot of this story.
Yeah, so it's a complete eyewitness account from multiple witnesses. So it's important. What could be done with it? I don't think much can be done further than listening to the testimony. I think one of the missing pieces that breaks everyone's logic is, all right, so we have things that we know are in the sky. Maybe we have things that are coming down to the ground, especially if it's a crash. So if they're coming here, it's more than likely, and I would say 99.9% to against, that they are just here on vacation. So what is the mission? So there has to be some sort of mission as to why these things are here and why only these few things are here. Because even though we're seeing a lot, we're not seeing thousands a day. We're not seeing, it is only a certain small amount that get witnessed, and that's which ones even get witnessed. So what is the goal? What could be the goal? There was no scientific technology found or anything else beyond the craft. So we have technology and a craft, but then we have a being, but we have no tools. We have no, it was doing this, you know, like if you read the original book of E.T., and someone could correct me if I'm wrong, E.T. was there as a botanist. He was into the plants, and I think that's kind of more explained in the book than in the movie.
I got to read the book. I never read the book. That's good.
Yeah. Look, I'm going off of what people said. I didn't read the book either. I don't want to pretend to be somebody.
He's like, I read the cliff notes.
Look, I had every cliff note when I was a kid. And basically, that's the cliff notes is exactly what I do for the Y-Files. I give cliff notes of every story. You know, I talk about, you know, when I'm going into pitch meetings to talk to the entire team about what new stories we're going to do. That's what I'm doing. I'm giving the cliff notes of the story and saying, hey, all right, I got this great one. It's you know, moment of contact, Varginha. We got downed craft. We got a pilot who tried to save people thinking it was a plane crash. Then we got military throwing him out of the area when he's trying to help save people. You got an alien. You got soldiers. You got
intimidation.
You got doctors. So like that. So I pitched the whole story to try and get the attention of AJ and the team to go, yeah, this sounds like a good one to do. But that's what I'm doing. I'm always just doing cliff notes. Once they say yes, then I take every story I could find on it, and which is mainly usually videos. And I put them all together with their transcripts and things like that before I hand off the research to AJ. Now, every time I do that, I'm only concentrated on the story itself as if the story is 100% true. Now, AJ being a black belt in research, we always used to make that joke that he has a black belt in homework. He could go out and find anything. So
Nerd.
Look for the other side of the story. You know, that doesn't make it debunking. It just means there's this side of the story out there and there's this side of the story out there. The user, you know, the watcher has to kind of make that decision. Now, again, I feel like he's not 100% won over on it, but he does feel like James is certainly interesting enough to talk about it, and let's you know get the word out there a little more. So we, you know, the more the word gets out there on platforms like James has just done, Jesse Michaels and Area 52 with Chris Ramsey.
Two great channels. Yeah.
Well, that's what I have such, and I think I've always felt this way about, you know, the Y-Files, the Jesse Michaelses of the world. Is you guys are getting to audiences that like that we just
everybody.
We can't touch. You guys are getting to the audiences that sit down and they have like a little family dinner around your guys' videos. Like I've seen it in the comments of the Y-Files. Like it's like a TV show for people. That's the internet is what, you know, cable used to be for families. Now they're sitting around watching a Y-Files episode instead of like, you know, Law and Order, right? But you guys have got the attention of the everyday person, and
my kids.
When you choose to do a topic or to shed light on a case, I don't think you realize how fucking much that influence. I mean, not to stroke your ego, but how much that goes in swaying people into taking action.
And that was one of the other takeaways for me, because when Congressman Burleson walked out of the room, I followed him and I wanted to introduce myself and talk to him. And as soon as I introduced myself and told him I produced the Y-Files, he pulled up his phone and showed me his history of him watching the Y-Files. He couldn't have been happier. He did a little video for me to send off to Hecklefish as well, which was really funny.
So you sent it to yourself? I'm convinced you're Hecklefish. Convinced of it.
No,
Joe's coming back on, by the way.
I know we're reaching the people and also the right people, and that matters. What we put out there does get some weight to the normies, what a lot of the people in the UFO community call it, because we live and breathe in this community. So the info we know there's not much new. I mean, I'm sure there was hardly anything new any of you guys learned from watching the testimony. It was good to see the testimony, but it was not if you're paying attention to it, it has already been out there. It's just these people kind of swearing to it and letting you know that this is
more formal. Right.
Gino, was there anything when so you had some one-on-one time with James? Is there anything you can share? Did he provide any insights? Because they were talking about going back following this presser, that everybody was headed back down to Brazil. Did you have any feel for their next steps or their follow-up or what he might be tackling next?
Well, I do know he is going back down to Brazil right away. I don't know. I don't know if I'm sorry. I can't say exactly what he's doing because he just hasn't told me that I can. But I do know he's on his way back to Brazil.
No worries. I hope he gets whatever he's after. That'd be great.
I did wonder if I just want an interesting point to that, not to just jump right in, but I heard him did mention about working on getting the body exhumed of the Mauricio, I believe was the guy's name.
Yes.
Just a cool thought. I think maybe that's what he's going back down for, to work on something like that.
That'd be great. And I don't know if the body's there still or if it's been gone or changed. That's my theory, is the body's not going to be there.
That would be a wild revelation.
That would be the gotcha. If that body's not there or it's been changed at all, that's the gotcha right there. So why would you change the body?
If there's no body, that's number one. If it's not the same body, that's number two.
Right.
And it doesn't match. Number three is if they re-exhume and do medical tests and don't find the same bacteria, all that is interesting. I don't think that's
workable.
Well, I mean, another thing is, they could say that he died from an infection, but they could have killed him as well, just to shut him up, being that he wrestled the fucking thing and we don't know. Or
it could have been a biological warfare infection that they used to take him. And when I'm saying they, I don't even know who they is.
Don't worry about who they are. It's just them.
The infamous they.
It's a quote Saul. They is everybody.
Well, I think
everybody.
I think we can rule in that the Air Force was absolutely involved, right? And if there is a paper trail, I hope that someone has taken it upon themselves to, and if not, let us know so we can do this, chase down that paper trail and figure out, because we know, okay, now, all right, we know the events of how it went down in Brazil. Or at least we have an idea of what happened in Brazil from the time of the crash until it's taken to the U.S. lands in Campinas and takes whatever they take back to the United States. What happens then? I think that side of the case, if that could be, shed light on, someone from the U.S., if you're involved in this, step forward.
That's the Colonel said. Enough's enough.
And we had Jeff Nucatelli down there as well, who went down to Brazil, and Jeff is doing out of all the testimonial that was given to Congress, his might have been the most important, because he is trying to figure out a better way to open the door for whistleblowers. Now, what I found out from Jeff was very interesting, that everything that he testified about, seeing the cube and things in the air, and everyone that was involved in on the Air Force Base, none of that was classified. So he didn't have to go through BABSA or anything to talk about it. So So that's an interesting point also, that he's talking about things that are not classified. So everyone who was on base at that point should be able to talk about it. It should be okay to. They're not coming forward, which is an interesting,
Yeah,
aspect.
and
I think
again,
it's still the stigma.
That's a tell.
I think that is over the next few years. Now, hear me out on this. With popularity of channels like the Y-Files, Jesse Michaels, and this whole topic range, like whichever streamer, podcaster that you want to point to, again, what brought Dr. Italo forward, what brought Carlos D'Souza forward, was the audience willing to listen and not to judge, right? Not to call you crazy or call you a lunatic or label you that guy in the family, right? The one who Uncle Joe just, he went a little crazy, right? We pay no mind to Uncle Joe. That's not necessarily the culture anymore. It's more like, oh shit, yeah, because it's being legitimized in other places. Now, whether those other places are flawed, because I think the 2017 article is flawed, right, in its information, but it still set the tone and built the wave that crashed down afterward, right? So, was Elizondo the man to champion this? Probably not. But he was. He's what we had and did what he did. So, it's gotten us to this point where I think today we are a long way from 7-8 years ago. So,
No doubt.
where are we in 3 years? I don't know.
Aliens, hopefully. Like legit, I'm hoping 3 years aliens.
We'll see.
I hope so.
I was having a conversation about this yesterday. And that aliens, that's great. I'm interested in it. I want it to be there. But my number one takeaway from all of what we're doing here is the technology of 0 point energy changes the world. Aliens doesn't. Aliens means everyone's going to maybe change religion and a few things in their life, but you go into work the next day and everything is you're just kind of talking about it. 0 point energy changes everything from the food industry, ends world hunger,
to medical.
Water.
Overnight.
The reason desalination isn't more prevalent is the power that it takes to do it. So really, I think 0 point energy is the biggest world disruptor that's there, and we're seeing it. We know that everything that we're seeing, if it's real, and I think it is. I've had my own personal experiences. If it's real, and any part of UAPs is not planes and things that we already know of, then 0 point energy exists and it's being hidden from us. Is it being hidden from us by aliens or is it being hidden from us by the government? But either way, if it's being hidden from us by the government, then that's probably the biggest world crime that could ever be. So hiding aliens from us, I could understand. Hiding 0 point energy, I do not understand.
That's an interesting, actually, that is very interesting. So you think the line in the sand for so you think that if they came out and said, guys, hey, fuck it. Aliens exist. We had to keep it a secret for a while.
You can come over.
You think that is not a crime against humanity, but say, hey guys, we've had free energy since, Tesla was around, but we chose to go with the other thing because we could put a meter on it. That would be a crime.
Be
against
more
humanity.
outrage.
Well, look at just look at the reason the government would have to hide it from us. If it was just aliens, I think maybe they would. It's not that big of a deal. However, if it's going to bust up the oil companies and it's going to cause zillions of dollars in profits, I think that's all the reason the government and the deep state needs to hide the truth from us.
So I'm going to throw out my theory here, and I think I am maybe the first person to ever say this. Anyone correct me if someone else has said this. I think the reason that it's being hidden from us is not because of aliens. It is because of 0 point energy. And I think the reason 0 point energy is being hidden from us is because it's easier than we think to make happen. And since it is so easy that it would be like people in there, once the equation is told and kind of figured out, then it'd be people like CRISPR in their own house doing experiments. I feel like 0 point energy is easier than we think, and that's why it's being hidden from us. That
Probably.
people
Like giving
who have-
everyone a time machine.
Yeah, because a lot of people be, out of money.
We don't
Right.
need major companies to facilitate it for us. We can pretty much do it yourself.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. Now I know
I love that.
enough, but people like my brother, very smart, could figure it out. People, scientists would be able to figure it out. And once that toothpaste is out of the tube, I don't think it could ever go back, because people would want to help humanity. They would want to get fresh water to everyone, to get fresh food to everyone. Those two things change the world. Besides everything else that changes,
You're right.
travel, everything changes from it. Every single industry. If you
For the better too, if you think about it. I know it's going to get rid of a lot of industry, but it's going to help humanity for the better.
No. That's not true.
I think it just
Because
changes.
it changes it fundamentally, because again, think about this from a not every human being on this planet right now has the good intentions. Just because the technology could solve world hunger, and most people would want that, you're also giving this technology to people that want to eradicate entire species of people. So we have to balance that.
Yeah, you're right.
Right? It's like giving every single person a time fucking machine. Again, most people would probably want to do good, but you can't have everyone mucking up the timeline, right? You can't have everyone going back and killing Hitler. It can't work like that.
The butterfly effect,
yeah, it can't.
And who does all that hurt? I mean, it hurts the moneyed interests and the people that actually run society.
So do you guys think that this
it.
is what Hal Puthoff and those think tanks were talking about, and ultimately deemed that, guys, disclosure is not feasible right now? Could it be because, yes, this technology unlocks overnight a fundamental paradigm shift? The moment it happens, it's unwavering. It's not, there's no yes or no. It's simply everyone has it or everyone does it. Period. That's fucking fair. And that's kind of scary, Gino.
Well, again, I've never heard anyone say it out loud. It's my theory is based off of some feeling more than science or anything else. It's again. So I'm not saying I know this for sure. I'm just saying that's what I feel, that it's been hidden from us, not because of aliens. I feel like aliens are just the side product.
I mean, it makes practical sense too, I think, what you're saying, Gino.
Just a side product.
Hey, real quick. So we're a little over 2.5 hours here, Ty.
Should I go?
Yeah, I don't know how much down what rabbit holes we want to go. But Gino, there's a documentary film project that you're in. You were talking about your own experiences that's coming out soon.
Yeah.
You want to chat plug that and get that out there?
Sure. I had a great time. I'm working with Patrick Armstrong from Vetted. And we did a lot of filming for his Psionics project. It's his documentary. I just went along for the ride. I was happy for the invite and to help out. We did some amazing things. We went to some places like Sonoma to see Bradshaw Ranch, which is
that place is wild.
With Carl Crusher, right? You guys were hanging with Carl Crusher?
Well, we were hanging with Carl Crusher up in Utah, St. George.
Okay.
But we went to both places. With Carl Crusher, we seen a lot of things in the air. during the day, we walked the cliffs, saw all the petroglyphs. You know, Carl said things to us like, hey, at night, this whole mountain lights up, and like strangely. Now, I expected it to be like a bright light. It wasn't, but it definitely lit up. It definitely looked different. You could see what he was saying. Now, the things that we saw in the air, we saw a lot of anomalous stuff, a lot. You know, I've always been a city boy. So New York City, LA, now Vegas, you don't see anything in the air because it's too bright. But if you go to places like this, you could see that there's a lot more going on in the skies than we know. When I went to Sonoma, we were using military grade night vision. And again, there must have been 5 or 6 things in the air at all times moving around. Now, does that mean that they weren't satellites, weren't planes? I don't know. I can't say. But there were some things that were anomalous. Like we were at Bradshaw Ranch, and let's see, and I was looking at, like, there was what I probably is a satellite moving across the sky. And I said, oh, there's one that's moving. And then in the same field of view, and both me and Ron James, who's part of MUFON, he's the
accidental truth director.
Yes, exactly. And he has another follow-up to Accidental Truth coming out. So me and him, we're both tracking this one moving, probably a satellite, but moving in the air. But right next to it, a light flashed on and flashed off, and that was it. And so I sat there baffled, going, it was like, you know, you're on a stage and someone turned on a spotlight and turned it off, and we both saw it. So it wasn't like, hey, did you see that? Did you see that? We both saw it. Very interesting. Again, anomalous. Now, I went right home. I got on ChatGPT. I'm talking about satellites, things like that. They did say satellites have that ability. They can just do a flash. And I said, well, why would they do a flash? It doesn't make sense. And it would be a reflection of the sun hitting it as it moves the trajectory.
That's interesting.
Now, is that what I
guys
thought? I don't know.
You guys weren't monitoring 4 out of that in real time?
No, not at that point. Because we were just
early.
We were up with our cell phones, and you know, pocket. You know, I had my pocket 3 camera. It's not like I had a full rig set up because we were hiking. You know, we were hiking through the trails. So
and of course, it's going to be when nobody's ready for it. That's always the you know.
Yeah, and that's fair. You know, so again, and we did a whole bunch of stuff besides that. Besides just looking at UAPs, things like that, we were working with psionics. So we were there doing. Ron had a spoon bending event at his house, and I went into it very, very skeptical. And I seen people doing it, and there was a lot of us there, and we were participating as well. And I was doing it, and certainly I bent the spoon, and I was like, oh yeah, but was that my strength? You know, because any one of us could bend a spoon. But I was like, was that my strength? Was I manipulating it? But then this little woman who was next to me, instead of bending the spoon like I was, like at the neck of the spoon, she took the scoop of the spoon and she rolled it up. I couldn't.
Oh, what? Fucking what?
Couldn't do it with all my strength. I tried to mimic what she was doing, and she was rolling the scoops of the spoon up. Not with any spoon I chose. That I tried.
That's like the strongest part.
And she was a little tiny woman.
With her hand or her mind? Explain that to me.
With her hand. With her hand. She would hold it in
do it
until she
no,
said,
of course not.
She'd hold it in her hand and she'd say, now it's ready, and then she would do it. So and that's what she was trying to have me do as well. She was trying to kind of teach us how to do it. And she said, just wait till you feel like it's ready. And again, I sat there going, I don't know. The
like
skeptic
Neo
mind
from the Matrix.
I don't know. And so I bent the spoon, and I was just like, yeah, but maybe it was just me. But maybe it wasn't, because I did try and bend it with the same amount of strength, and it didn't bend. But again, you're holding in your hand. There's some heat conductivity, things like that. I think Uri Geller, famously tries to, work through some of this. But
he'll just like walk up to you in a restaurant and like grab your fucking spoon and just bend it and then drop it back on the table and walk by.
Well,
Like,
how are they bending it?
Dude?
Can you explain that? Like,
a lot of people say that if you use enough friction, like if you use enough heat transfer from your body to the spoon, you can essentially get it hot enough where it will bend itself. It's almost like, and it's almost like it's a reaction.
Sounds plausible, but that is not what I seen. There was I felt their hands after. They're not hot. It's not like
I can't wait to watch this footage. I really can't.
It makes you think about it in a different way. I always I was always extremely skeptical about spoon bending, but now hearing you say that, it makes you think a little differently.
Well,
and
I'm so lost. I fucking so
I didn't come out of it saying I believe in this, I believe in that. I know I seen UFOs, because that wouldn't be truthful. I came out of it in the same way I did after spending time with Chris Bledsoe. I came out of it going, hey, I seen some stuff. I don't know what I seen, but I want to see more. I need to investigate it more, I would say. It didn't give me anything definitive. And I really think no matter how much you do, we're not going to get definitive answers. It is always going to come down to what you feel, is the truth more than anything else. Because, until someone pulls up, the fuselage of a down cigar, shaped craft, it's always just going to be opinion.
We're kind of working on, we're working on stories and testimony until then.
Yeah.
And that's why
the guy who found the plane in Varginha mentioned that he had grabbed material that when wrinkled up, it would go back to its own shape. And he said it was
Carlos.
Very thin. Now we've heard that before. We heard that exactly in Roswell. And then I did hear that from another person who had a personal situation happen with the UAP in Nevada. He's not public about it. I don't know what to think about that, his story, because it does have a lot of twists and turns in it. But for the same thing has happened to him, where he had material, he was arrested, the material no longer exists.
So this, and I spoke to Carlos about this as well when I got to speak with him. I forgot to mention this part. I said, if obviously hindsight being 2020, would you have scooped a piece of this metal and, got away with it? Because, it's that moment, it's that decision in that moment. And again, because I think it is a testament to what his mindset was, where he didn't think it's alien or UFO or any of that. He thought pilot is in trouble. And then his mind, he's probably kind of corroborated it in his idea when the military then immediately shows up with guns drawn. His mind is probably like, oh shit, this was some secretive fucking test thing. And I got, but I did ask him, I was like, do you wish you pocketed some of that metal? And yes, of course he does. But because that would have been that would have been the smoking gun, if you will.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But we need one of these people to get away. That's if someone does have a piece of this shit somewhere and they're just keeping it private. I don't see what the benefit to that is.
It's not someone's bookshelf.
They might be trying to save their life, and more so the life of their family. I mean, Bob Lazar famously has stable element 115.
115,
right?
yeah.
That's why they raided his house a few years ago. Is what it seems like.
While
Yeah.
Corbell was filming. It's
People
crazy.
say people say that was unrelated and yada yada.
Yeah,
So
I don't buy it.
to protect
Bullshit.
myself and my neutral stance, allegedly that is why they raided Bob Lazar's complex. But apparently they were just looking for the public. The narrative was they were looking for a customer's, because he sells combustible materials, right? So
Right.
they were looking into someone and they wanted all the files on that person.
Yeah.
So
All these years, though, they choose that
get it.
time when Corbell's there filming to do it.
I
You
get
know.
it. I get it. Trust
bullshit.
me.
Oh, bullshit.
I've seen a UFO. I've seen shit. I know it's out there. Again, I think, that's what I think, for as someone who has seen something like that just stood out to some degree that just doesn't make sense. And then to have that other experience, you start to form this, like, I don't know, this realm of like, okay, this discernment. And I wish everyone could have that type of experience because it gives you a good, like, guiding North Star. But anyway, we are getting to a bitter end here.
Yeah,
so,
it looks like Vito's getting bored. He knew the kick.
No, I'm not bored. I'm sorry.
The UFC's first show on Paramount is tonight, so it's a good time to go.
The
I had one
24-hour
I
shifts
had one
kicked
more
my ass
question for Joe.
the day
Actually,
before.
did you change your hat or your sweatshirt from when you
I
dropped
changed
off?
my sweatshirt. I had to go out for a while, so yeah, good eye. You got a
do
keen
that, or
eye.
did you do
Gene.
it because Gino came on and you
Yeah.
had to clean up Gino off?
all
He had to
of a
look
sudden
pretty.
he comes back on.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't. I was
Hey,
looking, I'm
guys.
like,
I went out. We went out to eat. So I had to get pretty.
Okay.
Nice.
All right. Yeah, that's a story.
You
Joe,
would have
did
got
you-
pretty for Gino anyway, though.
Joe, I never asked you. Did you end up going out that night, or you just went back to the hotel room and crashed?
I went. Yeah, I went for dinner and a few drinks afterwards.
Oh, dope. All right.
Gino, what's
Thank you,
next
guys.
for the live files and for you?
Well, I got a few amazing guests coming out that we're going to be talking to. One of them is right on this stream with us. Going to be talking to Gene Sticko.
Shit.
Nice.
Got him coming up with an interview with AJ. Recently did a few really good ones. Tim Hogan from the Knights Templar.
Ooh, wow.
Had Chris Bledsoe out there as well, and Mike Barra from Ancient Aliens, who I like.
Aliens.
And I think we also got James Fox is going to come out, so he's another one. And then as far as the show goes, I can't tell you what our upcoming episodes are exactly.
They're going to be good. It's
One
going
of
to be
them
good.
is our next one. I think is going to be a NASA cover up.
Oh, nice! I'll be watching that one for sure.
The ones that are my
two of those. So
yeah.
Hey, are you doing any other UFO things like this out this way, or like, do you know anything that's coming out, or are you hitting anything up that you know about? Because I'd love to like.
Well, a couple of
go to
things.
something
Number
else.
one, I always am a huge supporter of Contact in the Desert. Everyone should go to Contact in the Desert. It is the best. It is the best conference out there for this.
I want to go.
Especially if you're in positions like you guys are, where you want to network and meet the other people who are out there. You'll be able to sit down. I mean, everyone out there is just like me. They'll talk to you. They want to work together. That's how I got to know Chris Ramsey. And
dude, I'm so pissed we didn't like. And that's a testament to Contact in the Desert, to anyone who doesn't know or wants to know. Him and I occupied that same space for those same 4 days. Him being who he is, and I was doing my own thing and never crossed paths. Never crossed paths.
So, Chris Ramsey?
No, with Gino.
Oh, Gino, yeah.
Like that, it's a testament to how big the fucking conference is. I was interviewing. I must have interviewed 16 people throughout the 4 days. But had I known Gino was there, I would have made my way to introduce myself.
Well,
that's how big these fucking these conferences are.
That's what I want to say, Gino. You're a real cool, humble dude, bro. Like, thank you for being how you are, like welcoming and friendly and shit. Like it's cool. Like, you don't have to be here right now. This is awesome. Thank you.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
really
I've been
means a
getting
lot.
attacked being
Fuck.
that we're afraid to do MH370, and I tried to tell
Oh,
the
come
people.
on.
Tried to
Get
tell the
out of
people
here
the
with that
why,
shit.
and
Gee, I wonder who's attacking you with that one.
they're
Stay
just
away
I-
from those people.
trolling. And I tried to, I was very cordial, and I tried to say, look, this is the reason we didn't do it. And then then I was told that I'm afraid of Joe Rogan, and that's why I won't do it. And I said, I'm afraid of my friend for 20 years. I don't think so. Because here's the thing, even if Joe doesn't believe in it, which I've never even had the conversation with him that I can remember. I'm sure maybe we mentioned it way back, but I've never had a conversation about it with him or Jeremy Corbell. He was the other one I was told I was afraid of. But the Y Files, we talk about a story, and we talk about what's real and what's not. So we do both sides of the story anyway. What are we afraid of?
Yeah.
What's
Right. Good point.
afraid of? And I gave the reasons why, which are a few. One, it's still it's just out there. It's not.
It's
in
ridiculous.
my opinion, the Corridor crew thoroughly debunked it.
So, and there's also people whose families have been affected. Obviously, a lot of losses, and like I remember when I was like gung ho back during the fires in Maui, and I was angry about them, and I'm talking about, hey, blue roofs and energy weapons, and my brother reminded me, hey, we're not going to do that because people had to run into the water and they lost family members and
worst parts of their life. Yeah.
So we don't want to diminish what's happened to people. So that's one of the other answers. Now, that said, that didn't preclude it from, hey, that we're never doing it. But I'll tell you, there are some things that, just don't grab the interest the same as some of our other topics. So that's the other thing, to try and call me chicken for not doing a topic is silly. It's like, it's you're not going to get your way just because, that you want to say terrible things about us, And
oh God, my camera.
Ty's camera said, "Screw you, I'm out."
CIA is out
there. Were you at the Were you there when fucking Ashton tried to run up on Ross Coulthard at Contact?
I wasn't there for that, but I did have
that made me laugh.
Talk. I like it was weird because he did jump in a little, and I'm not mad at Ashton. I actually like the guy. I think
it's funny.
I
didn't have a problem with him whatsoever.
I respect how much research he does. And I told him that, and that's why it was weird that he was kind of letting this troll go on, because that diminishes what he's doing. And like, look. Whether he's right or wrong, the way I met Ashton was he was very nice. Came up and introduced himself. We talked. I thought me and him were just fine. And then he wanted to, after this troll came out, he started saying, "Oh, I guess I'm going to call out the Y Files." I was like, "Okay, if you want, but you're showing." Your personality trait here. I don't know what to tell you. There's no reason. There's no argument between me and you. And not only that, but you haven't even asked how I feel about the actual content. You're trying to say that I'm being silenced by someone. I'm not being silenced by someone. We're just picking other episodes that are better entertainment, that are interesting. The other thing is, like I told you guys, how I pitch episodes when we're talking to the team. You got to get AJ's attention. He has to go, yeah, this is the one I want to do. And I gave an example, which I think was one of the best examples and kind of shows the genius that is, AJ and the Y Files and his writing is, I pitched the Maury Island incident, which was the first one of the first UFO stories. It has, I walk in, I go, look, I got a great one for us. I got the Maury Island incident. It's a few weeks before Roswell. It's There's 5. There's a bunch of UFOs in the air. They're one of them's wonky and looks like it's about to crash. So it starts overloading sludge or some kind of slag, something that hits this guy's boat, breaks the arm of his son, kills the dog. He doesn't know what to do. There's this other witness that sees it. And so he goes back, and then the men in black show up. Men in black show up and try and shut him up. And then 2 Air Force military men show up, and they take the slag, and they're taking it back to Washington, D.C. They get on a plane. That plane explodes. Boom. They're dead. So now So I explain this story. I pitch it, and I go, and then at the end of the story, as I'm pitching, I go, and the crazy thing is, this one second witness, somehow he shows up at JFK's assassination. And that's the end of my pitch. Now, if you watched our story, the Maury Island incident is the first chapter, which is like 3 to 5 minutes of it. And then we go into Grisman, who possibly is involved in the murder of JFK. So again, it's the genius of AJ that really, when he sees something, he takes a magnifying glass and looks for the interesting angle and looks for what we could bring differently to a story. So I tried to explain it. I said, I don't know what we're going to do differently than all of the info that's out there, not just Ashton, but all the info that's out there. What are we going to bring to it? We always try and bring something new. They didn't like that answer either. And
you can't please them.
The Y-Files has become, think about it like this. You guys are Eminem, right? And every other rapper is going to try to attach themselves to you, because when they attach themselves to you, that brings them up. If you respond, that brings them up to you. You know what I mean? So
it's like 3 days later, and I stopped responding, and he's still writing.
No, they came at me too once, and they're rabid. Some of them, even if you're nice, even if you're nice about it, and you just don't want to engage, they're rabid.
Twitter's a fucking wild place, dude. Twitter's
I don't want to get too far into it on either side, but yeah. I interviewed Ashton early on. He was a very nice person. There are, again, people with every movement that are those types, you know?
I want to be very clear. I don't think Ashton's wrong.
You think he's legit? You think that's legit? I think those things are legit. I know they've debunked it. I think that video footage is legit.
I'm not saying he's correct, but I don't think he's just wrong. I'm not like, I'm open-minded.
I see what you're saying.
You know, I'm not saying, hey, like that's what was the other thing I said. You're biased because you want this to be what you say it is. And I said the Y-Files doesn't do that. I would have to talk about the plane might have just crashed. It might have just crashed, and that's it. And
it's most likely that is the case. Actually, speaking of that, they actually just reopened the fucking investigation, the search. They just reopened it. I think what is it? The Panamanian? No, maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, they're not gonna find shit though. I don't think.
Hey, who knows? You know, it could be it could be interesting to see where it goes if they do present some sort of like finding, and you start asking why the timing, why now? You know, because there are a bunch of families that are grieving. And my problem with this whole thing is, like what Gino said at the start, is there are people who lost real husbands, real wives on that plane. And you know, to give them even this much hope that their loved one might be alive, like teleported to some other dimension. I mean, it's you're treading on really weird water.
The woo. It's the woo. That's what you're treading on. You're treading on the woo.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, if that plane did get teleported, where they went, I don't think it was a happy ending.
Me either, dude. That's what scares me, is where'd they go? If that was legit, if the footage we saw was legit, where'd they go? And as far as Ashton goes, I think he's funny. He was mad cool and respectful to me. He was on my gaming side. He was like, I don't have an issue with him at all. So I could see why people do.
I don't either. My issue was with his troll. You know, that not with Ashton. Again,
so it wasn't him. It was somebody else fucking with you.
No,
okay.
he jumped in and tried, and he did jump in. But
Okay.
again, I don't hold it against him. I think he might have been feeling attacked about it, but I wasn't attacking him. Again, I was just trying to explain, hey, this is what our process is, and they didn't like it. They, again, were trying to say that we've been talked to or something like that.
Yeah.
Hey, I talked to Gino about this specifically. No one's talking to me. Hey, where are the spooks? No spooks are talking to me.
Right.
I'm here.
Become, if you're not with it, you become they're the deep state. They're the ones who are like, if you're not with it, you're the deep state, and you've been bought and you're paid for, and you're this or that. But that's
on Twitter, there's no nuance at all in Twitter. It's either you're all for something or you're against it. There's no in between.
Yeah, that's actually one of the main problems. Now, with that being said, I do got to wrap up, gentlemen. It's been such a pleasure. Gino, you have an open door here whenever you want. Trust me.
Thank you.
I have such respect for what you guys do, and keep doing it, dude, because you're bringing people to the subject that otherwise they would not be. Plain and simple. So, mad respect, brother. And
Thank
then
you,
to
guys.
everyone.
It was great meeting every one of you guys. I appreciate it.
No, you're awesome, brother.
Down there.
Yeah, I've been a fan of the Y-Files since the beginning. So just to even be talking to you is really cool to see. What a nice guy you are. It says a lot about you.
Yeah, down to earth.
Thank you.
Can't say enough nice things. Such a sweetheart.
So what we gotta do is we gotta plan something. Contact is in June, first week of June. So we gotta put something together before then. It'd be really nice to see everybody. Maybe we could find out some common ground, like event that's happening, and we'll talk about that. Gene, where can people find you? Gino,
Let me say one more thing before I go, and I'll see myself out
read
here.
Your mind.
I do think there are two other events going on before Contact that I'll be attending. One is in LA, and I can't remember the name. I think it's Conscious Life. And there's one in New York City as well.
Oh, I'm going to that.
Yeah,
Wait, let Gino talk so we can hear.
My bad.
Gino, can you repeat that second part?
There's one in New York City. Might be a good place for all of us to jump in for you East Coasters.
Ooh.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, let's link up about it. And obviously everyone knows where to find Gino. I don't think you have to
At where's Gino, where's _ Gino on most of the socials, or also I'm always looking for new stories. So anyone, feel free to pitch them. Go right onto Twitter, and where's _ Gino is my handle. My DMs are open on both that and Instagram, or you could just go Gino GINO at theyfiles.com. Write to me. I want to know what stories we haven't covered. Maybe just don't tell me about MH370. But other than that, I'm not afraid. Thanks, guys.
All right, man. See you soon.
Oh my God, the fucking belly buster right there. Gene, where?
Well, hold on. Does Joe want to bow off next since Gino's gone?
Yeah, let me get out of here.
All right, fuck you guys. I'm out.
Everyone just fuck off now.
Hey, Vito, thanks for letting me know Gino was on. I appreciate it.
Of course, dog. Of course.
God.
How could I not? Come on now.
Yeah. No,
thank
you as always. I'm always glad to be in.
I don't have 3 hours to be fucking sitting here. I'd love to, but I just don't have the time.
Yeah.
His wife's like, no way. Get your ass off that computer.
If you ever met my Gene has met my wife, so
I gotta pay the fucking studio bills. So I'm obligated. But yeah, Joe, UAP Reporting Center. Actually, fun fact: you can report UFOs to the UFO Reporting Center.
Yeah, no, you got to go to. I should have named it. I screwed up on the name of the website a little bit, but the website is www.thecontactreport.com. There's just a little feature. It says report. Put in your information, all that good stuff, and that's how you report.
And then where can people follow you?
So on X is our primary, just at UAP Reporting CNT, or just type in UAP Reporting Center and we'll come up. Same name on YouTube as well. I appreciate if everybody just go over and give us a follow.
Hell yeah. Oops, shit. Gene.
Yeah. Books
I
right
have
there.
I have an episode coming out with you.
Yeah, everything's there. EngineeringInfinityBook.com. I'm starting to feel like Jay Leno. I just pop on and co-host with everybody, and
well, your camera looks superb.
Make the rounds, whether I'm being interviewed myself or just lending a hand and a voice. And happy to do that. And yeah, just Infinity Disclosed here on X, and that's it.
Beautiful.
The website.
Beautiful.
That's all I got.
Vito, last but certainly not least.
You can follow me on the Perfect Storm Gaming on YouTube. The Perfect Storm Gaming on YouTube is the fastest way to find me. And then all of my socials are in the link tree. It's the easiest way to do it or PStorm _ is it PStorm _ official? I forget how. Let me see. My Twitter. But the easiest way is just my YouTube.
Does your tagline say your mom's favorite YouTube channel?
Unfortunately, it does, and I didn't mean it to say it on your show. It was when you switched it over.
That's hilarious.
When you because you know what it is. I have like 20% or more women that follow me, which is crazy to me.
Nice.
On everything.
Shit,
so it's
we out here flexing or what?
Yeah, a little bit. I'm a little flexing a little bit. You know what I mean? So yeah, no, it was funny. It was a joke that I was doing with my gaming buddies because they're like, "How the hell do you have 18 or 19% women?" And I'm like, "I'm a firefighter and I'm not ugly. I'm just chubby."
Crazy statistic, actually. That's a good analytic.
Yeah, no, I check my shit like a hawk.
For everyone else, my DSLR is back online. I don't know what happened. It just kind of shut off. It just fucking shut off there at the end. But everyone else, you know what it is. Like, share, subscribe. You can scan this QR wherever it is, QR code. And it'll bring up the link tree and you can support us on every platform. As always, it's truly a pleasure to speak with the community. It was a real treat having Gino from the Y-Files on.
Oh yeah.
So thank you for that, Vito.
I think you wouldn't mind.
That was awesome. That, like, at first I saw him, I go, I don't think I'm fucking reading this right. I was like, is that, I don't know if I should bring him up. I don't know. What do I do here? That dude is, so Gino, that was one of my highlights from this DC trip. And everyone else, I got a bunch of stuff coming out right now. Editing it out throughout the week. Anyone who is in this winter storm region, be safe over the next couple days. Don't be a lunatic and purchase every loaf of bread. Other people need it too. Don't turn the grocery store into Mad Max. There's no reason. We've done this. We do it every year. So stay safe. Like, share, subscribe, rate, and review if you're listening in the future. And stay humble, stay kind, stay vigilant. But